babble. Babbling's fun.
We know you can hear us.
Babble.
I'm going to get some more tea.
That's so lame. Tech's going to get tea.
Yeah.
I got tea too.
Man.
I got tea too.
Yeah, you got that.
Bourbon tea.
Will you
T2
put tea
Judgment
in this?
Day?
I know I didn't drink all the water. Would you put tea in it? Does it have alcohol in it?
No, but I drink like really potent green sweet tea.
Does it have sugar in it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So it keeps his manly charm.
I drink about a half gallon of it when I'm working, and man, I get stuff done.
Yeah.
You want more water?
No, I still have some left. I drink a lot of coffee.
I used to.
Coffee is what makes the morning possible.
Well, I drive about 100, 200 miles a day.
You know what?
Really?
So coffee.
Why?
I work for Canon. I'm a territory manager for Canon.
Track is like an hour.
So I drive in
Canon?
no the printer
So I'm gonna
printer
stop.
division.
Oh, okay.
And all
So
you have
I
to do is
drive.
Turn it out.
I've got like a 200 mile territory that I take care of.
Well, this way we
And,
keep it at the correct volume.
Like if somebody in Madison, Indiana needs something done to their copier, I drive out there.
And that's what you do is you go in and you get the thing working.
Yeah.
I think that sounds pretty
Territory
good, don't you?
manager is what that's called. That sounds actually pretty fun.
Yeah. Oh, I meet new people every day.
Yeah, I would like that.
It's challenging because you never know, like, when a gear is going to break in one of those things. And I'm talking like industrial, like enterprise printers. I'm not talking about desktop printers.
I assumed you were talking about like what, like Home Depot, not Home Depot, Office Depot or something like that. One of those big fat Mac Jabby things.
Yep.
would be.
That's what I do all day.
Technical term, don't use that.
Yep.
So anybody that's coming and joining us right now, we're just kind of doing pre-show. We'll be live here for 3-4 minutes.
3 or 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to social media all the things real quick.
We got anybody in the chat real quick or already?
Not yet.
Okay. That's how you can tell if we've got a stalker or something.
Just the typical. I've got my bots in there.
Doodly-doo. And then we save this off. I know that we have the subscribers went up again on the audio only one.
Cool. How many we got now?
130 something.
Sweet.
I know we got over 70 subscribers to the video one. That's why I'm hoping we can do the one for at the stadium because what I want to do is do that around noon of the game on the 11th because people are going to be so hyped.
Yeah.
They're going to want to any content that day that people are going to chew on. So.
Oh yeah.
I'd be more than because I'm sure they're going to do Soccer City Radio. Hello.
Derek, can you get in? Speaking of social media, right?
There you go. That way, hopefully they get if people have once again if there's content they know they'll watch or they'll listen or whatever.
Hopefully.
I want audio only streaming. We haven't thought of that yet, have we?
I mean, you can do it. It's just we're already video streaming, so
Doesn't make it any harder or easier.
Twitch.tv works on any phone, so
That's true. And you don't have to subscribe either.
Nope.
You could just click on the link.
Yep.
I know Derek's going to tell everybody about that right now.
bit.ly/3B podcast.
Yes. Bitly.
Bitly.
Do-do-do-do-do. Let's see.
I gotta say, I really like the logo better with gears. I know you don't care for them, Derek, but I really
gears?
like
I
them.
like it either way. It just gets busy.
Yeah.
Which one?
Gets
The
busy.
Groove Machine logo.
I like the gears, I think.
Yeah.
It's a little, it has a little depth.
You know, when I designed that, that wasn't gears.
Really?
That was the clamps on the side of the drum.
Oh.
And then then somebody said, "Oh, I like that you put gears on it." I'm like, oh, "Okay, well, that can be gears."
Yeah, for the machine part of it.
yeah. Made sense.
Yeah. So it's good for two reasons. All right, it's about that time.
It's almost a minute.
Yeah, we got a few viewers in here. Hi.
Hi, viewers. We're going to be turning on in a couple seconds.
Hello and welcome.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna live the video.
Handle yourself.
Yeah.
Put your handle in there.
Oh.
Did you say handle yourself?
Handle yourself.
Nice. Nice.
It's one of those nights.
I'm an expert at that.
Thanks for the info. That is so much more info than I wanted to have ever in my
I
life.
meant his Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And I typed it flawlessly.
Twitter.
You did.
See?
Twitter handle
See?
yourself.
Hey, handle my Twitter. Hey, boy.
Moving along, new topic.
All right, I'm gonna go live video here.
Okay,
Let's go. All right, we
5, 4. Wait, I got to do that first anyway.
come on, camera. There we
5.
go, and we're live video.
5, 4, 3.
Don't count no more, please.
Hi, I'm Joe.
I'm Matt.
I'm
We're
Derek.
the host of
Beats, Balls, and Bourbon.
the official vodcast of the Groove Machine, the drumline for Louisville City supporters. We are members of the Coopers and also like to help out with other groups as well.
And can I say it? Can I say it?
Is there something you'd like to say?
I would.
Here we go.
Beats, Balls, and Bourbon is part of the Beautiful Game Network. Check out BGN.FM. We'll be talking more about that later.
Yes, we are now members of the BGN, which is a lot of fun, and looking forward to seeing what that's all about. To my left is our guest host tonight, Keith Alone. How are you, Keith?
I'm fantastic.
Man, it's good to see you, man.
Yeah,
it really
it's
is.
good to see you as well.
Because we did that Soccer City radio thing a couple times.
We did.
That was
and,
fun.
I enjoyed the. I think you did it twice, sang the national anthem for us at the.
Well, I'm actually up to, about 20-something times now.
Oh, I know you've done it since.
Yeah, right,
Because
since-
I want to
right,
say
right,
that
right.
I saw you at a. Did you sing it at a Louisville City game?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I was there
Oh,
for
yeah.
that game, and I was like, it was like I was with a star, and I was like, I'm like, oh, I know that guy. I mean, I really know that guy.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
So I'm hoping they call me for the first game this year, but we'll see.
I don't know, man. You let us down in the final.
Stop. Ladies and gentlemen, co-hosting his final show, Matt. No. Anyway,
Three-time, yes.
yeah. So with
They
another
have me
episode.
chained here.
Oh, jeez. It's another episode. I think this is episode 27, actually. So that's kind of cool because we only do every other week. But we'll hopefully you'll go back and check everything out that we've done on Twitch TV. All of those videos since we switched over are there. Also, we have edited versions of the show on YouTube. And there is an audio-only version, and we're getting more subscriptions. So if you are subscribing to that, we hope thank you. And we hope if you haven't, you will go to either YouTube, look up Groove Machine, or you will go to our audio feed is on iTunes. It's on the Google. I forget the name
It's
of it.
on the Google.
It's on the Google.
On the Google.
Whatever
the Google machine.
Google Play. Yeah, the Google machine. Google's podcast service, whatever that is.
You got to put everything
And
on the
of
Google.
course, yeah, if you want to recommend us to your friends, there's an easier way to plug the Twitch stream. It's bit.ly/3B podcast.
There you go. And Derek's going to tell us all about that. Derek, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I can't complain. Everything's good, right?
You feeling sassy?
I'm feeling well. I wanted to let the America know something because it seems to be the cool thing to do.
Oh no.
I have suspended my candidacy for president because everybody else seems to be doing it this week. So I wanted to do it too. I feel like being part of the team. So those delegates that I picked up in Guam.
The what?
Oh, you got delegates in Guam? Nice.
Nice.
2 delegates in Guam and 1 in I think it's Marshall Island. That's
Delicates. I thought you said. I thought you
Delicates.
just said
Yeah.
delicate.
Yeah, the delegates.
I'm like, what is a delicate? Another double
Well,
entendre.
I haven't picked up
Yeah.
any delegates personally, but I am not suspending my campaign. In fact, I'd like to tell you right now about my platform.
What is it?
It's about 3 feet high. It's about 10
Nice.
feet on its side.
Yada la 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 yada la. Thank you very much. So you're doing good.
Thank you, Gracie Allen.
I'm doing good. I've had a very eventful week.
Yeah, man. Can you tell us tell everybody a little bit about the whole social media thing and where they can? Have I talked about anything that we haven't talked about yet?
No, I don't think it's so. We obviously we are live on Twitch. If you are joining us for the first time, you can subscribe to the channel for free. If you have Amazon Prime, you just select it's the subscribe button at the top of your screen. You can go in and you can you get a drop down and it'll tell you Amazon Prime. You can also sub to us for it's $5, but I would prefer you do it for free. And then we've got it's every follow helps us out.
Yes.
Essentially anything that you do, any interactivity or anything that you take part in during the stream, that helps us a great deal, and we really appreciate it. Follow us on all the social media outlets. Joe, I'm sure will share some stuff about our audio streams and whatnot later.
Yep.
And we love you guys. Thanks for joining us. We're gonna have a good time tonight.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. And yeah, it'd be really cool if you can fill this thing up.
Yes, we would like to have that thing filled with stuff.
Keith looks at it like it's.
Matt, how are you?
I don't even know what he's putting.
I'm just,
There's a
I'm
digital
just
bourbon
wonderful.
glass right here.
yeah.
Sweet.
Everything's good.
I'm just.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah. I had to look over the screen to line everything up on it so I could.
You can. Oh, and that's one.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matt. So one of the things that you can do with the interactivity on the stream is you can send us bits. That's Twitch currency. Any bits that you send us will drop down into that little bourbon glass, and it's like a tip.
Yeah, we appreciate that. If
You know,
we like tips.
just give us your tip.
So, and there you go. Now, before we get on, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the supporter stuff that's going on, and then we'll talk to Keith. Also have Mike Watts coming on a little bit. That's going to be really cool. He's going to give us a USL preview. And then Matt is going to lead a discussion with Mike Sparks.
Mike Sparks.
Mike Sparks, who is part of this BGN, Beautiful Game Network, and we'll tell you a little bit about that, too. So, with the Coopers, there was a happy hour this Friday. The Coopers' first Friday happy hour this Friday at the High Horse Bar. That's 1032 Story Avenue from 7 to 9. Everyone is welcome. If you've ordered parkas or memberships, your items will be available there for pickup. You will also be able to purchase a new membership or renew. Is there anything else you want to add to some of the Cooper stuff there?
Just remember, this is last year's Cooper's kit. Everybody really liked the first run, so we ended up making a second run. This year's Cooper's kit is on sale right now. I think there's two options for color. I think it looks as good, if not better.
I can't handle that. It says stimulus right by your right nipple.
It does. The new ones say that too, Joe.
I just noticed that. I apologize. Welcome to
Anyway.
the show, Keith.
Anyway, they're going to be on pre-order through the 14th. As of now, we do not have plans to make another run. So if you want to get this year's Cooper's kit, now's the time. bit.ly/Cooper's kit will get you to the order form.
Excellent. Announcement for Scouse's house. There was a meet and greet also on Friday to benefit Jim and Fiona Lowe. Now, I don't know Fiona, but Jim is a great guy. He's from Scotland. They've run into a little bit of problems lately. Fiona has some health issues, and Jim broke his femur. He hurt, and so that's a very bad injury if you've ever had any femur issues. So what they're doing, in good old British tradition, let's get together for a good old night of games, music, banter with friends of old and new. They have generously agreed to make a donation to Fiona and Jim. That's the bar there that they're going to be doing at, which is that's the Molly's, the Highlands, and ensure we can show them community support during their recent misfortune. Now, how about this? Especially for Friday evening, Molly's has arranged for this unique printer for us. Get out and get your personalized Guinness glass with your face on the foam on top. So basically, I'm calling this the Scouse's Drink Your Face fundraiser.
So they will print your face the foam.
In the foam. It prints as a picture of your face on the foam. It's amazing. I've never seen anything like it before. Today's the first day I saw it online.
So that's interesting. Starbucks is going to be doing that now. Coffee's going to be
Everyone's going to
$5.
Right, exactly.
I don't want to repair
pretty
those
much are.
printers.
Yeah, but
Good point.
so hopefully, if you get a chance to go check that out as well, Molly Malone's Highlands, or you could check out both of them and help Jim and Fiona out. Like I said, really good people, and hopefully you can check them. You can give them a little bit of support. The Sheep's Pen, who have been doing amazing work. Three things. Sunday, April 5th is the 5th annual Wool Cup at King Louis. Online registration is now live for team captains. We are set to raise over $1,600 this year with 9 teams. So that's fantastic.
Did you say 9 teams?
9 teams with, and they're set to raise over $1,600. So,
He did not tell me he expanded it. How dare you, Eric?
Yeah, Eric. And then Saturday, April 11th is Match Day Music at Big Al's at Burritoville. Now, this is a good idea. This is a great idea. They're pretty stoked. Midnight hour sound system DJs will be spinning the mod and Northern Soul. I didn't say that with the right inflection. And then the band Straight Laced will be playing their set, drinking food specials. So hopefully, I'm hoping to get a chance to go over there for one of their happy hours.
I got to swing. We got to swing by there.
What time? When?
It doesn't have a time here. I'm gonna say, since the game starts around 7, probably about 3 o'clock. So that sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And knowing those guys, I'm sure it will be. And
Now,
last
here's the question
go ahead,
I want to
sorry.
ask about the World Cup, though.
Uh-huh.
What's the over/under of former MLS players that the front office is going to field? Because they have some.
Dude.
They have a few.
It's just not. That's
If they've got, I think that they're going to have Cruz, O'Connor.
That's just wrong. That is wrong. That is kind of wrong.
And this is going to be my retirement party. This is the last time I'm ever going to play in a charity tournament
Yeah.
because I can't do it anymore.
What they should do is that they should offset that. If they're going to have Cruz and they're going to have O'Connor, they should offset that with Howie Lindsay and Brad.
Howie Lindsay 0. Oh, yeah. Forget it.
So bring them two out there and offset all of that, and I think they'll be fine.
I have something to add about Cheap Spin, actually.
Okay, give me one more thing. Lastly, the Ba Open, which is the foot golf scramble.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that is Saturday, May 16th at Woodhaven Country Club. Sign-ups will be coming soon. Just check our social media. After foot golf, we head to Big Lynn for Lucity versus Hartford Watch Party.
Nice.
And I said it the right way, not Hartford. If you looked at Hartford.
Start time.
What
Start
size-
time for Big Al's is 2 p.m. By the way.
What size teams are on the foot golf thing?
They had 4?
You play. It's a scramble, and you play in groups of 4.
Okay.
And it was a blast.
I'm saying we need to recruit somebody and have a Beach Balls and Bourbon team.
Oh man,
Dude, that would, we have to. That's a good idea. Maybe we'll raffle off a spot.
Hey,
Who wants to play foot golf with the 3 of us? That'd be kind of fun.
I'm kind of
golf?
committed to a team.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
I've never played foot golf.
Oh, I suck.
Neither
It's
have I.
it's fun, man.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, I played
It's-
frisbee golf a couple of times. And
we
that
had a
was fun.
blast.
I played one time with Luther, and it was a lot of fun.
I got one more sheep's pen.
Do it. Yes, please.
So I told Eric I would frame this a certain way. The sheep's pen may or may not have their own logo now.
Okay.
So they may have their own
Nice.
really cool supporter logo. They may or may not have given it to Evan.
Is it like a sheep's ass?
No. It's really cool. This is very different. But Evan may or may not have put it in a place on the Louisville City website where you might go to look at supporters groups, and it might be there. It might not.
Okay.
So I would encourage you to
I don't
surf.
know what the heck is going on.
No,
Whether I
it's-
should or shouldn't. I might or might not be. I'm so confused.
Surf the
No
Louisville
idea.
City website, and maybe you'll find something. I don't know.
So there's some announcements. We'll have some more stuff later on, but I want to talk to Keith for a while before we talk to Mike. How are you, sir?
I'm very, very good. It's been a long time.
It has been a long time. We miss you on the radio show, but we haven't seen you in a while. I'm just glad that you're here.
Yeah, just had some stuff come up that I had to take care of, kind of step away from the public eye,
Yes,
so to speak.
my
Kinda-
dozens and dozens of fans.
Yeah. The public ear.
Well, my mom and dad were busy, so. So I did that, and I stepped away from coaching and all that stuff. But this past August, September, got back into it, and I'm very happy to
Well, that's
be
good.
doing
We're all
so.
glad to see you. For people that don't know Keith, maybe if you could, ask everybody that's ever been on, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, please.
Louisville guy, born and raised, went to St. X, Holy Trinity. I lived away for 4 years when I went to the University of Dayton.
Okay.
That is a message that I just received on my phone, which drives my wife absolutely bonkers. I will turn that off.
Yeah.
And
I thought we were being raided.
I was going to say,
I know everybody goes, "Oh, are you in the fire department?"
It's just bourbon.
Access,
It's just bourbon.
Just access starts slamming through the door.
I'm not on the fire department. It's not the military. It's just a thing I can hear. Went to St. X. I played at St. X. I went to Dayton. I played at Dayton.
University.
Yes, University
Okay,
of
I
Dayton.
didn't know that. Okay.
I left there, came back, and I played on a semi-pro team called the Lexington Bandits for about a half a season.
Okay.
Then we had a kid, and I stopped. And then I played for the Louisville Thoroughbreds.
Right, I've heard of that name.
Played with them for I don't remember if it was a year or two. It was the year 2 years before they folded. And I was one of the guys that actually got to cash the paycheck, which was awesome.
There you go.
So then I have coached here from basically when I got back from school in 91-ish. I graduated in 90, and I hung out at the school for about a year and
Okay.
did stupid things. And
As
then
opposed to me, who just did stupid things at school. the whole
Well, I
time.
did both, but I just didn't have to go to class.
Right.
Nice.
And then I coached at Bellarmine. I helped the guy who started the women's program there. I helped
Nice.
him, a guy named Jim Gleason,
Okay.
for about 2 years. I did some goalkeeper training at Bellarmine for a year.
That's cool.
Then I coached youth, LSA, LSC, Javanon,
Jeez.
Kentucky Fire Juniors. Almost all the clubs in town I've coached at one point or another.
Didn't you?
That
You
were-
played for the Lightning for a season.
Oh yeah,
didn't
yeah,
you?
and I played for the Lightning for
Okay.
1 year,
So what was your position?
goalkeeper.
Okay. There you go.
Yep. And that's it.
That's it.
And I do nothing else. No, and I've got. I'm obviously married because my thing makes my wife nuts, and I got 3 kids. I got an older daughter who is 27. She's married, has her first baby on the way, due
Oh, God
April
bless. Awesome.
17th.
That's awesome.
Totally stoked about that.
Yeah, that is cool.
I got a son who's at the Naval Academy. He's a junior.
Damn.
And I've got a daughter that's at WKU that was arriving in town as I pulled into your all's
Great
parking
school.
lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
WKU. That's tell you, EKU, WKU, a lot of good universities.
And let me tell you, WKU versus in 2019-20 versus WKU in 1990-91 when I was that age and going there, it is a world of difference.
Is it really? Yeah, well.
I mean, it was I don't know. It just was like, oh, it's WKU. But now you go there and it's beautiful and it's a wonderful campus.
That's awesome. And so one of the things I definitely want to ask, and we've had a lot of folks on that grew up in this area. Now you grew up in the culture here. Seeing it explode like this over the last 5 years has got to be pretty crazy.
Oh, it's been absolutely fantastic. The thing is that there have been iterations of professional soccer in this town since I was
there you go.
a freshman in high school.
Right,
I mean, before
right.
that, I mean, we had the MISL team with, was it MISL? Yeah, it was played at Broadbent Arena.
Okay.
Thunder, the Louisville Thunder.
Louisville Thunder.
Yeah, it was MISL,
So
wasn't it?
they played
No,
Broadbent?
AISA,
AISA?
American Indoor Soccer Association.
Oh, okay. It was one of the, I couldn't remember. I just remember.
There were so many of them. It was like the wrestling territory.
Yeah.
It was,
got
and they were
crazy.
here for a couple years, and they got out, and then the USISL, which was the precursor to the USL,
Right.
started the Uni Systems of Interleague Soccer things. It was
Yeah.
such a long, convoluted thing. It was ridiculous, and that was around for 4 or 5 years, and they got that here. And our first several games, everything went well, and then they were like, "Oh, we're not making any money," so they just kind of said, "Well, threw up their hands." And I was like, "Why aren't you like?" This is just the promoter and me walking out to every youth practice with 2 players, handing out tickets to the kids. Parents got to get in; they'll pay. You know, get the kids in, and the parents will show up. You know, they'll
Right.
put some pressure on people. So
Kids are good at that.
Yes, they
yes,
are.
absolutely. And then we tried the Lightning, which I mean, it did relatively well, but parking was an issue. It was hard to get into the place, and I think people were a little uncertain about what indoor soccer was. Which since Mockingbird opened, I played there.
I got to be honest with you, moving it because I was a fan of the game, in the '70s, going to see the Cosmos and all those teams. Indoor soccer saved soccer in this country. It kept it dormant for a little while. You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't have a vibrant outdoor game at all, sadly. But it really was, because some of those teams that played at the top level are still their names: the Steamers, the Crunch. Those teams. There were some great teams back then that were the Arrows. I mean, there was.
It gave a lot of people a chance to continue to play.
Right.
And I mean, it's kind of where players go to die.
And it was, but there was some. They took out players that played in that league.
Yeah.
Kyle Rote Jr. I mean, there were some great soccer players that ended up playing in that league, because sadly there wasn't Ricky Davis. There wasn't a whole lot more.
There wasn't anything to
going
do.
on.
What
It
were
was
you
a
going to do?
shame.
You play in college and you're done.
And that was just, they tried to Americanize it, but it created sort of a subculture that's still around today, and I think it's pretty. I mean, you'll talk about that later with what what you need to mention, but it created that sub layer that still persists today.
Right. And I think the fact that the USL has become what it has and has been one of the very best things for soccer in the United States ever, simply
Right.
because it is such a localized thing. Yeah, you might have, your MLS team in Cincinnati or Nashville or whatever, but something like Louisville City, and we talked about this when I was doing the radio show, you feel like you go out there and you handshake with any one of those guys at any point. There's no airs about them.
Right.
They're busting tail to try and get to the next level, which is the MLS, as we know in this country. But they are in it because they love it and they want to play it and they want to get there. Yeah. They get to the MLS. I got
It changes.
Very good authority that those guys are as entitled as can be. Like,
Oh, there's no doubt.
What are you
we
gonna
had
do?
Hackworth on here. He said it out loud. We've got a couple guys that came on here that said, it's a different vibe.
It is.
And it's a shame because we've created this myth, I think, with MLS that you've reached the top. MLS is D3 for the world right now.
I was going to say you've reached the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. You've reached D3
Of the
world
top.
level, okay? Because, we have Paco Craig is now playing for somebody that's in League One in England. He's got a 1-month contract. He was a star in this league for a while.
Yeah.
Okay? And I think, you guys tell me, I think the contrast, once you get past the designated players in MLS, the difference between the MLS player, the average MLS player, and the good USL player, not much. I don't think
No,
it is.
there isn't. It's usually speed.
There
of
is a
play,
difference. There's a difference.
How quickly they think.
Right. So, and jumping back a little bit, when you were coming up and doing all that stuff, you transitioned into coaching, right? Passion for working with kids.
Oh yes.
It's you can't just do it. You know what I'm saying, right? I mean,
I've coached I coached Cassidy, my oldest, 3 years, and I haven't coached a kid since. one of
Wow.
my kids. So,
Yeah.
and she was up until she was 13. So it's been a long time.
So you coached your own kid.
Yeah.
What's the challenge of coaching? I haven't even asked anybody yet. I mean, I don't think we've had anybody yet that coached their own kid. Have
I don't think so.
I coached Lincoln for U6, but
right. And I don't think
yeah.
we didn't even talk about Coach Hackworth's kid. What's the challenge of coaching your own child on a team with other kids? And I'm sure that how kids are. They're aware of it. So what's that?
Yeah,
like?
absolutely. There's a ton of pressure that you don't want to show that. Nepotism is not the right word, but that favoritism to
Sure.
your child. But I almost held her to a higher standard than I did the other kids.
That's the same thing.
And I had to constantly rein myself in, and my wife would make comment of it and be like, just don't be too hard on Cassidy. I'm like, yep, you're right. And she was playing goalkeeper, and she was playing goalkeeper because I played goalkeeper. And she was like, oh, well, hey. And we were playing at Javanon, and Javanon is like, at the time, was the top tier team.
oh, she getting pelted.
But she wasn't getting pelted, which was good. Because
So you had to okay.
I had good
Yeah.
players in front of her, but it was it is definitely a challenge. I might do things a little bit differently than I did then. But I mean, at the time I was 32, 33. I'm 51 now, so I mean, it's
You don't look
a
it.
lot of growth in.
I mean, I
involved in
I
that.
look all of 54. You don't look 51 to me. I look 54 plus.
I gave you those years here.
Thanks, man. I'm happy to carry them forever. I'm just a nice guy like that.
You are.
And then one other question before I'll give Mike a call. The infrastructure, not so much the buildings, but I'm talking about the support. I mean, that's got to. We talk about the increase of quality, and everybody sees a product, and they're like, "Wow, it's so much better than it used to be." Everything that happens underneath it has to be just as. I mean, it has to be much better to see a better product. I mean,
In terms of the quality of the players that are playing at the higher level, what were they going through when they're getting
right, exactly.
Yes.
Coaching, driving kids to games, getting the paperwork. Nobody talks about the paperwork.
All
the
of that
insurance.
garbage is taken care of by managers.
Right, right,
One of the wonderful things is, at least all the places I've been, is the youth situation is like, okay, there's the coach, and the clubs are like, okay, coach, you coach. We need a parent manager that handles all that back end
Right.
paperwork, insurance, garbage like that, which I would rather pull my eyes out than deal with any of that stuff. So all of that stuff is taken care of. And then the coaching is a lot better because now if you're going to coach a certain age, you have to have a certain USSF license.
Right,
And then if
right.
you want to get higher, do better, you can get a higher and higher license. So there's actually people that have been trained at least in a common kind of idea of what the United States Soccer Federation wants to do in
Right.
order to get these guys going higher. One of the things that I think that would be great for them to do is eliminate the loss of the ability to go to college and scholarship to people who get paid or get
Okay,
pay.
explain it a little bit.
Because if you're going to go to the NCAA and you receive any benefit for soccer, they can't give you a scholarship. You can't play in the NCAA.
Wow, that's
Division
right.
One,
That's right.
because it's an extra benefit for your
Somebody
sport.
else talked about that. That's right.
So
Sanchez talked about that.
Yeah,
he
I
did.
did.
Right.
I think they should.
That's
just,
a weird setup.
It is but it's for football. I mean, with football, if you don't play in the NFL, I mean, in college, you're not going to play in the NFL. It's not like you're going to come out of high school and play in college.
Right.
I mean, in the NFL, basketball, yes, that's why they had that year sit that you had to in the NBA or whatever it was. I think they're looking at changing that or just changed it. But I mean, a lot of these guys, they lose 4 years because they're like, well, I need to get my degree and soccer's going to pay for it. So why don't I just go ahead and do that? So they're coming out at 21 when they should be playing at 16, 17,
Right,
18 years
right.
old at a very high professional-esque
Right.
type
Right.
level.
Right.
So that kind of gets lost because if you go out and you train with Louisville City every day versus you go train with your Division I school, yes, some of those players are going to be good, but you're going to have one or two at that Division I level that are going to be able to play at the same level with the USL teams.
Right.
You're competing against
And that's
18.
that's that forked. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say you're competing against 18 in the USL practice every single day, whereas you're only practicing against one or two, and then you could maybe dominate those one or two. So it doesn't improve you
Right.
to the speed as.
And that's sort of that forked path that we have in this country that I don't think we have anywhere else. It's the university scholastic thing. We talked about that too. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I definitely want to get back to that. But am I unmuted? I don't want to. We are now getting ready to talk to Mr. Oh, give me a second here. Call. This is me trying to do stuff.
Mike Watts.
I think Mike Watts is going to answer the phone.
I went to high school with a Mike Watts. I don't think.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Mike, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How you doing, pal?
I'm fantastic, and I think once again want to really thank you for joining us on our show here.
Oh man, I'm happy to do it.
Okay,
Happy season. I mean, we're almost there.
absolutely, and that's kind of what we have here. We've got,
So exciting.
And I've got Keith alone, and we have Derek Davis and Matt Owens joining me hosting. So, sir, first of all, I want to ask you how was your winter, and what are some of the things you were doing as far as broadcasting was concerned?
Yeah, stayed busy this year. Was a lot of basketball, and I mean, once you get to the end of November, out of soccer in this country for the next, 3 months. Got into Champions League again in February, and heading full speed ahead to the championship season.
Okay. Let me do you a favor. Let me do something here. We got a little bit of a.
That's Facebook.
Is that the Facebook thing? I'm going to try. I'm just going to hang up and call you and message you right back. Okay. I'm sorry about that.
Give it a shot.
Going to try this again. 1 second. Hold on. Going to call you back in 2 seconds. Say something funny.
I'll tell you something
Go ahead.
that he brought up. Champions League. My favorite team is Bayern Munich. I'm sorry for Chelsea fans, but it looks like you're not getting out of 16 again.
Yeah. Well, it's.
I had a friend go there. He brought me back a scarf.
There's been a lot of craziness going on with that.
I know.
Fingers crossed.
Well, it looks like
Sounds better.
It sounds a little bit better there.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, you've kept yourself busy.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I assume that you've done your homework to get ready for this USL season, which is about 24 hours away, literally, because I think there's a couple games tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. So there's at 10, I think, tomorrow. I'll call the 10 o'clock game out in Orange County.
Okay.
So excited to see them in Paso. And at this point, I've got 3 games on the weekend, including the Louisville game on TV. So it's been with coaches and getting caught up on all the acquisitions over the last few weeks. And at this point, ready to go, man. Ready to go.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you if there's a couple teams in the East that you think we should be keeping an eye on. Who's done the most work, and who do you think has had the most improvement?
Yeah, it's interesting. Tampa Bay is improved, especially in the back. Got most of their attack together, which I think is positive for them. I think they had a really tough team a year ago. Miami made a significant
Mike,
year one.
We're breaking up real bad again. You know what I'm going to do, Mike? While these guys do something, I'm going to text you my number. We're going to try it the other way. Is that okay?
All right.
I'm sorry about that, bud. I appreciate it. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. It's just, and it's not. It's just Facebook. Facebook is Messenger really stinks sometimes. So I'm going to go ahead and text you that, and these guys are going to talk a little bit more. Go ahead, please say something.
So, Derek, what'd you think of that AEW pay-per-view?
I didn't get to watch the pay-per-view.
I didn't either.
I know the results because I can't afford. I think that they're doing pay-per-views the wrong way. It's too expensive. I'm not going to pay $50 for an AEW pay-per-view. No. It's wrestling.
Yeah. Apparently,
we're huge wrestling fans.
Based on the results, apparently Fozzie's getting ready to tour again.
Yeah, because Jericho's going to be out. He'll be out for a couple months, I guess.
Yeah.
Or was it 90 days? He got like a 90-day suspension or something.
Know.
Yeah.
My father-in-law is was a huge wrestling fan. Like,
come on, tell me it works.
There it is. Oh my gosh.
Holy cow.
It definitely works now.
Ain't quiet.
Mike, I'm sorry about that. Thank you, bud.
No, all good.
It's all perfect.
It's all
man.
good. Facebook, man. What are you gonna do?
Nothing. That's why we moved to Twitch TV. By the way, folks, if you want to watch the show, you can go back on Twitch TV and you can see previous shows as well. Mike, once again, I'm sorry. Thank you again. And there's a couple teams that, being Louisville fans here, that we should keep an eye on.
Yeah, so I would start with Tampa Bay. I think they're going to be a legitimate contender, especially with the changes they made in the back. And I think Neil Collins has done a terrific job with that group. Kept most of their attack together and their midfield together. Miami has put a lot of money into competing year one. I think they've got a bunch of guys that either fans know from past USL championship seasons or from Miami FC. historically that'll make them interesting. Obviously, I think Louisville was really pragmatic. I think everyone they added was an intelligent ad, not just a guy that you're getting to throw money at a problem.
Right.
There were a few that kind of started there, and then
I checked out the changes today. Everybody talks about the fact that we brought back a lot of players, and we did. But man, we got a lot of new talent here. There are some especially today. I don't know if you caught the signing that we had today with Gomez.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I think the talent you guys brought in made sense. So Jimmy Ockford, Devin Kerr called him his Defensive Player of the Year prediction. So you're talking really high expectations for him from a guy who knows the league as well as anybody. Cam Lancaster is obvious for what he's done for the club previously. Corbin Bone is brilliant in midfield, and all of a sudden I think you've got 5 or 6 guys that could compete in the midfield to start every game. And even Wes Sharpie, I thought in Memphis was one of their better players, and I think he could play any of the 4 positions on the back line. So what he does from the outset, and then I don't know what Gomez's future is right now. He's still so young, but
16.
Wow.
If I had Hack and Danny Cruz and James O'Connor as the guys looking after me at 16, I'm not saying I would have been a pro. I'm just saying I would have been better than I otherwise would have been.
I can't even talk about what I was into when I was 16. I don't even want to go there.
Yeah, I found a highlight reel of him and I posted it on Twitter.
Of Gomez.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. And also maybe I don't know if you've kept up with any of Miami. You just mentioned the new team, and they've done a tremendous job putting a roster together. Any of the other newer teams that you've kept an eye on?
Yeah, the only 2 expansion teams this year into the league are going to be Miami and San Diego.
Right.
If you look at the team that San Diego brought in, I mean, on paper, and it's a long way to go. It's Landon Donovan's first time managing.
Yeah.
They're legit, guys.
Yeah, there's a lot.
They look real.
It's sick. And
that's the one with the detergent logo, right?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Sorry.
But
Don't put those thoughts in my head. What are you doing?
Was it Tide Pod FC?
Yeah, really. So you've got. All right. So you talked about Tampa Bay, Miami, and Louisville. How about a couple other teams up there that we think we should keep an eye on?
Yeah, I think Indy is going to be good. I cannot wait for the Louisville-Indianapolis Proximity Association football contest.
Thank you.
Well done, sir.
I got there. Yeah, I think they're legit. Devin is really high on Birmingham, I know, although they just lost J.J. Williams to Atlanta United as they try and fill the loss of Joseph Martinez.
Well, where is Birmingham as far as striker concerned, though? I mean, what up top? I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what you think about Chandler.
Right, is he back?
He comes back to Chandler Hoffman.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You got 2 key things to look at there. Is he going to be healthy? Is he going to be on, or is he going to be cold?
Yeah. And I think he, in chatting with him months ago, you get the feeling he's amped to get going again.
Right.
It's amazing the hunger you get coming off an injury like that.
And it could teach you a lot too. I mean, and Chandler Hoffman, even when he was here, whatever, wherever he's played, I mean, he's always showed some hunger. So, hopefully he's okay. I mean, I love the fact you just mentioned something too. Some of the cities, these are not tiny towns. Indianapolis, Louisville, Miami. To see this league doing what it's doing versus whenever you started doing USL games, it's insane, isn't it?
Yeah, because I did 2015, and you're talking it was Galaxy 2 and Rochester Rhinos.
Right, for the final.
Yeah, so that was my first game then, and it's night and day. I mean, even teams like Tulsa, right? I mean, they've kind of been stagnant over the last few years. They have billionaire ownership that just came in, so they're not laggards anymore.
They'll be making some
the cities are good. I'm excited.
Have you had an opportunity to come by the new facility yet?
So I went in November, and Brad Estes gave me the tour, which was unreal.
Changed a lot.
And we will be there on site for the league. The first league match at the stadium on April 11th, and I know 14,000 of our closest friends will be there with us.
And I have to tell you, like I've been over there a couple times recently. I can't even, and I'm not a geek when it comes to this, like stadiums and buildings. Like,
I am.
And my thing is like where am I sitting, and where's the beer? I mean, that's really, you know, I mean, obviously the view matters.
You're not, and about 20 steps away.
Right.
and can be more importantly the bathroom.
The bathroom, of course.
Because if you got one,
unless it was
the
in
other.
it, you know, I'll tell you the story about Indianapolis. I told these guys.
Oh no.
But anyway, Mike, I can't even explain it to you. It's majestic, and I'm using that word in a very legitimate way. It is absolutely beautiful, and it sounds like there's a couple other places. Pawtucket, I think, isn't that? I think they're trying to build a new stadium out there. Isn't there a new one in out west, Colorado? Maybe I forget where it was.
I think the Switchbacks.
Switchbacks. That's right.
Really spectacular. They're working on it.
Nice.
And just think about now. You did the final in Rochester 6 years ago. That facility was probably the best facility in USL 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And now, not that was a horrible facility, it was just in a bad spot. But it sounds like the league is really working hard to make sure that teams are getting moved into those kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, night and day. I mean, even, Phoenix, when they decided they're going to move out of that baseball complex and into this temporary stadium using the stands from the Phoenix Open, and they talked about, from tumbleweeds to rough and tumble is what the owner of the team told me at the time. And it doesn't have all the modern amenities, but when it gets rocking, it's as good an atmosphere for its size as you're going to find. And then you kind of go from those kinds of stadiums, modular stadiums, into Colorado Springs. And, I think Sacramento's got great big plans, but, they were one of the first to sort of have their own place of that size. It's sad to an extent what happened to Rochester because they put some money into it, and by the time it was done, the scoreboard had panels that didn't work, and the turf was coming up, and I mean it just sort of degraded for a variety of reasons.
Well, they tried to model themselves after what was going on at the time too, because you got to remember when all those buildings were going up, they were following the NFL sort of model where you don't build in the middle of the city. You find someplace in the outskirts, and sadly, that was kind of outskirts for Rochester. It's still kind of part of the city, and then on top of that, I mean, the main industry there was Kodak, and who saw that complete thing just imploding the way it did because of technology. Yeah. So it's just, as a fan of the sport in general, it's just amazing to see some of these facilities that are going up. You got the new team in Queens next year, I believe they start with
Queensboro.
Yes, Queen. With not Vela. David Villa. He's him taking over. Maybe giving us a little bit of a preview of what you see in the West.
It's interesting. I think it's fairly wide open. I think Sacramento with Mark Briggs is going to take a big step forward. I think Real Monarchs, I don't know if Douglas Martinez is going to see much time for the Monarchs as opposed to for RSL. But
right.
I think things are going the right direction there. Phoenix will be great again. No reason to think they won't. San Diego, I think, is going to be hanging around for much of this year. Orange County, I think, will be better. I think El Paso is going to be fun to watch. Yeah. I think San Antonio is a real dark horse to get out of that playing round.
Well,
a bunch of guys.
See, the thing about San Antonio that I was worried about a little bit is the fact that, they were one of those franchises that I think kind of tied their whole deal to MLS, and it doesn't look like that's coming to fruition. I don't know. And I'm wondering that, they're going to be a case study in a city and a team that sort of really tried to hitch their wagon to a star that they're not going to be able to hitch it to. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping that's that doesn't break down at all. I'm wondering if, you start talking about playoffs and stuff like that in the West, you 2 or 3 teams that maybe if we get that far, we would want to keep an eye on?
God, it really is.
It's like I said, kind of open, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you kind of sit here.
You know what I'm doing?
Let's see where we're at in a month, right?
Mike, what I'm doing is making you earn your money for coming on the show.
You obviously haven't paid him very much.
But anyway, just as a general fan,
3 times what I'm making off this.
There you go. Now, just as a general fan, like I said, the excitement of broadcasting a league, the viability of this league, it's becoming something that I think could really, really it's taking off now in its own way. but eventually can really turn into something. The excitement of being able to broadcast this it's got to be kind of fun, man. Are you still doing the deal where a lot of those are going to be done down in Florida? I think is it Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work?
Down in Fort Lauderdale, right?
Fort Lauderdale. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the first pro soccer match I ever called was that game in Rochester.
Okay.
And year 2 in 2016, it was really just a game of the week, and OKC jumped in, so I started doing some local shows, and then 17 Louisville jumps in, and I'm going to be doing my 4th year as the guy calling the majority of the games on local Louisville TV. And so for me, as a young announcer, I mean, I'm 27 now. I mean, back then I was calling a final at 23.
That's amazing.
The fact they took a step with me and gave me a shot when they didn't have to. Credit to Alec and Justin Papadakis and Jake Edwards and Mike Cohen and Tom Veet, and a lot of guys really had to buck up and put a lot of trust in a young guy who hadn't done it before.
Right.
And to be able to pay that back a little bit by being here as long as I have, given what they've achieved off the field, is frankly really satisfying.
Well, you've earned it.
For me.
Honestly, you've earned it. And I'm not saying this because you're on. I am a huge fan of the way you call games, because there's a legitimacy of the interest and the emotion that you put into it. And I mean, we all enjoy listening to it. And I mean, I'm always at the game mostly, so. We're going to try and get you. We're going to try and get you to remember this first game to plug the Groove Machine. We're going to. I mean, that might not be. We'll do what we can. Does anybody else want to ask anything? I don't. Does anybody have any questions at all?
Get in here, guys.
Yeah, come on.
Go.
Hey, Mike, do you think New Mexico is? Do you think we're going to outdraw New Mexico in Louisville?
Good question.
I think it's going to be neck and neck. I mean, I think. Technically with standing room only, you guys can match what they can seat. I think that's part of it. It's just they literally have more chair backs than Louisville has. I don't really know that it's all that relevant, though. And I know that sounds like a backdoor answer, but there's little things like, Slugger Field's going to have games at the same time as Lou City, whereas New Mexico gets rid of that entire conflict by playing on that field the same way you guys did the last 5 years.
That's
so,
a very good point.
it's not to push away, but I'm interested to see the dynamic. I mean, now it's $2 beer night the day before the first game in Louisville. Don't think I don't know that.
Right. and I believe, I want to say that I think Louisville, the Bats, the baseball team, and Lou City have a game on the same night, opening night, I think. I think that may be a thing. So that's kind of interesting.
Get to the game early. Yep.
Yeah, get to the game early and drink everybody's beer, I guess. I don't know.
Pretty much.
I guess that if between now and the season start, what's the next month look like for you as far as scheduling and stuff?
And really that's just when I get to you guys. I mean,
right, that's what I'm saying.
It's 3 games on the weekend, and it's, for me, over the next 2 months, we've got Olympic qualifying for CONCACAF, which I'll call.
That's awesome.
CONCACAF Champions League. So I've called the final for that the last 3 years for the World Feed. So that'll happen again this year. I'm doing the Big East tournament at Madison Square Garden next week.
The Mecca.
We've got 3 maybe games of the week between now and the 11th of April. So
that's awesome.
Doing those, and then USL and NWSL, and it's full speed ahead. I mean, it's constant prep work, and I'm lucky I've got a fiance that supports that.
Well, good for you. Good for her. And question for you: how much NWSL are you doing?
I'll do about 20 games this year, 25.
That's outstanding. So that means that you'll have like a treasure trove of information for us when we ask you to come back later on.
Correct. And I'm interested to see, I talked to John Hackworth about it at the end of last year because I was so excited to see, the stadium and having another team and the League Two team you guys put in last year that starts this year. So
really looking forward to
talking with him about the organizational philosophy of it, and he's just kind of going, could we take some lumps year one? It's an expansion situation in a league that's notoriously tough to compete in.
Yeah.
Maybe, but in the grand scheme, he's like, we aren't competing with proof. We're here to, foster each other together as a great soccer city. And, he's excited to have that around, and so am I. I think Louisville as an NWSL market is going to blow people away, and I'm super excited to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there's a strange guy by the name of Lance McGarvey hopped into our channel.
Hello,
There you go, Lance.
I don't know the reference here, but he wants me to ask you how you let Howie beat him at how he beat you in PKs or something.
Oh no! Please expand on this.
Yeah, so Tyler Terrence is the new Chicago Fire voice, which, he's so deserving, and he's worked so hard for that opportunity. So Tyler was the goalkeeper. Devin was the videographer. We did it for his Three Honest Lads podcast, and I duffed it, folks. I did not hit it well. I blew it.
Did Howie talk a lot of trash?
I don't think Howie's capable.
Howie's not capable of talking
when he
trash.
smirks at you,
No,
what's
he's too
happening.
nice of a guy. But I mean, going
Howie's too good.
back to what you were saying about Orlando. I mean, I've decided to make Orlando the team that I hate and everything because number one, I mean, they dogged James, and that was a stupid mistake. I mean, I'm glad he's back here.
Yeah.
But that was a horrible mistake from a franchise that is terribly run. And their women's team, they put something out about something where I forget what it was, and I slagged them a little bit on a tweet, and I said they said something about they were the something. I said, well, yeah, so were you in 9th place because they came in last, and they didn't appreciate that too much. But I've decided to really
Every
not
other
like them.
NWSL fan on Twitter appreciated that.
Yeah, really. So, I guess you'll have all that information for us when the time comes. Anything else you want to add about the season that we didn't ask you about yet?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it just feels like the tier of teams that I feel can compete for a title has never been bigger. And for me, game to game, that's
So
really exciting me. I think Louisville, I think they're there again, folks. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to make the final. I mean,
Right.
it's to do that this many times in a row is a pipe dream, and it's one that the culture and the level of the players is made possible, and James and John and everyone in the organization. But they look real again, and from a selfish perspective, I think our game of the week slate is really good this year.
Cool.
I mean, I'm just I've got 72 games all told through all
man.
Wow.
That's a lot of soccer.
all openings between now and the end of April.
It's a lot.
And so I want to dive in, man. It's time. It's my off season's over.
So you're going to have to work in a whole lot of words to a whole lot of broadcasts, is what you're saying.
There's so much word sneak.
And lots of cough lozenges and lots of honey tea. Anybody else want to ask him
So
anything?
much
about this?
tea.
You taking submissions yet for Word Sneak?
Oh man, I got to get down to that, right?
Yep.
We're only 2 days from the game of the week.
I know.
Well,
shoot.
we've kept you on here for 20 minutes. Mike Watts, really appreciate you taking the time to join us here again. Hopefully we can reach out to you again by the end of the season. Hopefully we're in the playoffs here, and we can reach out to you and you can give us a little bit of an update on what you think is going to happen later on.
Yeah, whenever you guys want me around, and damn Facebook, man. I'm glad we did connect, though.
Absolutely, Mike. Mike Watts from ESPN. Michael, thank you so much, sir.
Y'all be good.
And we'll talk to you soon.
See you later, man.
Thanks, Mike.
That was Mike Watts, ladies and gentlemen. What a great guy, right?
Yeah, good to have on, man. Very insightful.
He's in the middle of this whole deal. So it's to hear because last year he had us. He thought we were, when we were struggling a little bit, he was the guy that was like, you guys are fine, and he really was behind understanding everything that had to go around it. Can you imagine a 6th year, Keith, with it going to the final? Or going to the conference final?
I mean, because we've been to the conference final. I mean, it's just old hat. If you don't do that, you look back and you're like, was it unsuccessful? There's the question that I would say. What do you consider? What makes a season successful?
Great question.
For this club. For St. Louis, it's making the playoffs. For Tulsa, it's having somebody show up. But it just really depends. What say you?
What do you think, man?
To me, I think I mean, I'm trying to be realistic and kind of
That
level
is so
about
hard.
this. I know, right? I say win a playoff game.
If we can,
I think that's a successful season. It's not the ideal season. It's not what we want, but you have succeeded as a team. If you can go to the playoffs, win a game.
let's talk to the future general manager of a team. What would be your expectations?
I would. I don't mind talking like ahead. Like I have last year. I was like, I'll be happy if they win a playoff game.
Yeah.
But I say that every year,
Right,
and
okay.
and they seem to like, they surpass any kind of expectations that we
It was
have.
such a transition year last year too. So
Yeah, I mean, I just halfway through the season, I'm like, they're looking. This is rough, and I'm like, I don't know, and I've kind of learned to just. I'm like, man, they can pull it off in a year. It's soccer. I mean, it's you never know, and somehow we've done it for as long as we've done it, and here we are. Like, I want to say, hey, they win a playoff game, I'm happy, but I don't know. I mean, would I be happy? I mean, I want to see them go. I think they can do it again. I mean,
Winning a championship was awesome. That run that we had last year, through those 3 or 4 games, the insanity of that, winning 8-3, and then the comeback at Pittsburgh, and then the comeback at Indy, which still gives me freaking goosebumps.
Pittsburgh and Indy are really going to come at us this year.
Yeah.
And they're both good teams. And that's
always
We're
going to
go-
come
we're
at us
the-
regardless.
We're Pittsburgh's
man.
home opener.
right. And you going back to what we were talking about, the name Pittsburgh, Nashville, Louisville, Birmingham's no little town, Memphis, Tampa Bay, and you just go down the list, and then you go to the west, Phoenix, and San Diego and Sacramento and all these big old towns. This league is it's a great league, man. When you talk about 6 years ago, I don't want to knock any of the teams that were in that because that's what it was, but it's grown so much. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to it a lot. So
It's gonna be good, man.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
So I'm going to put my glasses on before we give this young man. We're calling what, Mike Sparks?
Mike Sparks.
Okay, we're going to discuss a little bit about the Beach Balls and Bourbon joining the BGN, and you'll lead that because Matt was the person that made that happen. So we're really, really happy about that. But let's take a little break. Want to take a little break here?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay, this guy's in today.
I love your mystery breaks.
Well,
We
my
don't know what's about to happen.
it's March 4th. Well, it's March 6th. No, I don't even know what date.
We're
It's
marching
March.
forth.
It's March. It's March something. I have some March things here. I was going to play some music, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
March. Did you know?
wasn't good.
Now, for those of us that have ever win in March, it was okay. March. It was.
No, it wasn't.
if you ever cut diss on somebody's music, man, there's an immediate argument going on
That's
right there.
I know, really, that's the truth. So anyway, March is a fun month because March 4th, by the way, March 4th was National Marching Arts Day. So for anybody that was ever in marching band like I was and did the drum corps thing for I'm judging this year again, so that makes it 38 years. So good for you. People don't realize the effort it takes to strap a drum on or put an instrument on and march around in hot weather.
Sucks.
To let you know what I thought when you said marching arts,
Okay.
I was like, what are these people like wearing placards?
Well,
what is
sometimes
marching
they
arts?
do.
I thought it was guys named Arthur.
Sometimes they do.
Marching
Yeah, right. The marching arts. Stop. Stop. Where's the yellow? Give me your yellow card right now. Give me
didn't
it.
bring them.
Give me
I'm
it.
sorry.
Give me it. Oh my gosh! If I had a yellow, that's terrible. You know, daylight savings time starts on March 13th. I don't even know why we do that anymore. Do you? Do we still?
I
Why?
just wish we wouldn't go off. Of
If you didn't, it would be just pure chaos.
It would be pure chaos. And then we have the vernal equinox is in March. You know what the vernal equinox is?
Can I guess?
Sure.
I do.
Is that you remember Vern from all the old movies?
Jim
Thanks.
Varney.
Thanks for this. Go ahead.
Is that,
You talking Jim Varney's Ernest movies?
yeah.
Okay.
Is it like Ernest
Hey, Vern.
Saves March?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's close.
Vernal means spring. Equinox means the day and night are equal length.
Thank you. That's very good. That is exactly right. Vernal equinox means that the day is the equal length, night and day. And here's something that's cool. Like back a few days ago, Scott Kelly, an astronaut, he just returned from space after 1 full year, setting a record for the longest uninterrupted trip to space. Can you imagine being alone in a spacecraft for a
He was
year?
solo. He
Was
wasn't
he not
in
on the station?
Well, he was
space
on.
station?
But here's the thing: he was on station. Yeah, but here's the whole thing: you're monitored 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
If I was monitored 24/7 for a whole year alone,
You couldn't come
They
back.
give
couldn't
you
come
guys. I knew an astronaut, and they give you some alone time.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Is he related to Jim Kelly, who never won a Super Bowl with the Buffalo Bills?
that's the Jim.
Would he
You
admit
can't.
it if he
I can't.
was?
Believe, you're not allowed to talk about Jim Kelly, Ben. I love Jim. Jim Kelly is one of my favorite athletes ever.
Okay.
That's just mean. You're so mean, Derek. Derek's mean.
He is.
Birthdays in March. You ready? Justin Bieber was
Okay.
born in March 1st. Canadian treasure he is.
He's
John
married.
Bon Jovi.
He's married now.
He's married.
Yeah, he got married.
He's a Canadian
Wow.
treasure.
I
He's
thought he
allowed
got
to-
married and unmarried very rapidly about 2 years ago.
Well, I think he sounds like
I heard
he
him
sounds
talking about
like
his wife on the radio the other day.
Really? I don't. I just saw Justin Bieber and I thought the Biebs would be kind of cool to talk about. John Bon Jovi, the second, New Jersey guy. Did you know Michelangelo was born in, Michelangelo?
The Ninja
right?
Turtle?
The
No.
the turtle or the artist?
No, the artist, the person that paints things, not the person that makes money off of
Interesting
children.
bit of information.
Yes, please.
Michelangelo did not lay on a scaffold on his back and paint the Sistine Chapel in fresco.
Really?
He stood like such.
Oh wow!
No, I'm not
Okay.
kidding.
I'm with
I
you.
am
I'm with
not
you. I'm with
kidding.
you.
And the reason they know that is, the reason I know that
Uh-huh.
is my daughter is a graphics art major, and one of the two fresco painters that is still very good and teaches it is at WKU.
No kidding.
And they found some of his writings. He drew a picture of himself as
Really?
Yes.
That's pretty awesome. That is, well, there you go, man.
We're learning a lot of stuff
you want-
tonight.
you
Yeah.
want- Guess whose birthday was on the 11th? This is good. He played his last professional game here. Did he or Drogba?
Oh.
So Drogba's
Is he-
birthday.
And
Is he
Isn't-
40 this year?
another bit
41?
of trivia there.
42,
The
I
only
think.
42?
championship game he ever lost
No kidding.
that he played in.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he won every championship game he ever played.
So the
prior
only
to that.
championship game that he ever lost was in Louisville.
To Louisville.
Tough shit. Okay, moving on.
What birthday is it? Like his 60th or something?
I don't know.
It's like his 60th birthday.
Einstein was born on the 14th.
Okay.
Okay, so all right. So here's a couple names. You guys you two are going to have to help me with these. Some guy by the name of Steve Borden. Do you know who that is?
Lizzie Borden's brother.
Close.
Oh.
No, he's the professional wrestler Sting.
There you go. Thank you. Sting was born on the 20th.
After whom I patterned my face paint.
So and some other guy by the name of Mark Calloway.
That's the Undertaker, dude.
The Undertaker was
Yeah.
born on the 24th. Lucy Lawless was born in March. Lucy Lawless was Xena.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah.
Man, and
Or
then
on
on
Charlie's
that one-
Angel.
or Charlie's, she was on. Yeah, she was in the movie, right?
Oh, and she's Watson or whatever in
She's in. Yeah, right. This,
what is that?
I don't
Sherlock
know.
Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes,
take
right?
on.
But she was also in one of my favorite series ever. She played someone called Lucretia in a series called Spartacus.
That sounds like something you rub on your nuts.
Well, let me tell you something. There's a lot of nut rubbing in this series. Spartacus. It's on. It was made about 8 years ago. It is unbelievably good, and I'm telling you, Lucretia. Eric Clapton was born on the 30th for all the guitar players out there, and then last but not least, his 76th birthday on March 31st, Christopher Walken.
okay.
More cowbell.
Have you ever heard the Foo Fighters do their Christopher Walken thing?
No.
I need to, though.
He came, and Dave Grohl does this imitation of him. He says, Christopher Walken says, "So where's the emphasis? Is it Foo Fighters or Foo Fighters?"
That's good. That's good.
So good. So Dave Grohl told him to do Foo Fighters. So he came out and he does that. He goes it on stage. He goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, Foo Fighters."
That's tremendous. I love Christopher.
I'm not
as
surprised
do
with that
I.
band.
Christopher
As do
Walken
I.
is one of the most underrated actors ever. The Deer Hunter. Man, I'm telling you, if you've never seen The Deer Hunter, De Niro's in that too.
Don't forget about Joe Dirt.
Oh,
Well, naturally.
It's Dear Tay.
compared to he's just.
Dang.
So anyway, today was a big day. Today was a day that the Martian rover got a name. It did. They named
Rover?
it. Martian rover is now called, which makes sense. It's called Perseverance because it's been on Mars.
Spirit
Yeah, it was
Opportunity,
supposed to
Perseverance.
crap
Okay.
out years ago.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
exactly. 9 years. 9 years it's been flying.
The aliens keep it running for us.
Some of the other names
They're
that
so
was
nice.
that is very nice of them. Those little green bastards. And then the some of the other names was clarity, courage, endurance, fortitude, ingenuity, promise, tenacity, and vision, which all sounds like future NWSL franchise names.
I
It
don't
really
even-
does, yeah.
I
They
had
would
some,
not want me that
I
next.
had
Decepticon.
I had some names that I wanted to call it myself. I figured I'd share them.
Dingleberry.
Lonely, Tool,
Tool.
Unbathed.
Hmm.
How about Rusty McDusty?
I like that one.
That's
I
not
like
bad.
that. I dig that one.
Anyone got a blanket? It's it's Mars. How with wheels? Who gets that reference? Does anybody get that?
2001
How?
Space
Dude,
Odyssey.
thank you. I knew you would get that.
Yes.
How with wheels? Or how about my Uncle Luigi had this one. Oh, analyze this. And then I got. He also said polish my handle, but I shouldn't say that on this show.
I got your rover right here.
And yet
Exactly,
you
I got your rover. And then my favorite was bored as balls. So those are those.
Yeah.
What I think that they should have been called. Anyway. Hey, look. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
We're trying to entertain you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, Keith, thank you once again. We're going to keep you on here, and if you want to hang out, you're more than welcome to. So I'm going to let Matt take over here because Matt was kind enough to set up a little something for all of us, and he will expand on it while he's busy trying to call somebody.
Flailing away at my phone, I will try to use words.
At
as
least
well.
it's your phone.
They will be words, but what they communicate will probably not be much. So,
Go ahead,
thanks
man.
for putting me on the spot like that.
Absolutely. Well, hey, pressure's on, brother.
No. Like I said earlier, we did join the Beautiful Game Network at the invitation on Twitter of Mike Sparks. He is part of, among other things, Mongols from Pittsburgh. And let's give him a call and get him in here.
Can you explain what the Beautiful Game Network is for the
I was going
uninformed?
to let Mike do that.
Oh,
include
There you
the
go.
history.
So Mike's going to talk about the. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Mike, you there with us?
I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
We
Yes,
can
sir.
hear you just fine, yeah.
Awesome. You know who else was born in March?
Who else?
Who?
Two thumbs pointed at this guy.
Nice. Well, happy
Nice.
birthday sometime around now.
Thank
As
you.
was my
Appreciate it.
sister, like anybody cares.
Yep.
Oh, man. If I didn't know you better. I got so many jokes.
Yep.
Anyway, go ahead. I'm
All
sorry.
right. Thanks, Joe. All right.
That puts a pause on it.
Yeah, so thanks for joining us, Mike. I guess you've gotten kind of a sense of the show now. We're not so much about technical analysis or being personally aware of what's going on at any given time. It's a little more community focused. We like to get to know the people behind the game on this show. So with that in mind, I'd kind of like to get a little bit about you. We know that, let's see, you've been involved with the Mongols podcast. Are you from Pittsburgh originally?
I am, yes. Born and raised in Pittsburgh.
Nice.
Yeah.
And let's see, and then can you give us kind of an idea of how you came to get involved in soccer?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think like most people, I started at a very young age. I played, as a kid in-house, did some travel, things like that, played throughout high school.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, once I became an adult, started watching soccer here and there. I have 3 young boys, so they all play. And so got heavily involved coaching them and involved in their, youth soccer associations, things like that. And then really, started following the local team here in Pittsburgh, which is the Riverhounds, as you guys know.
Mm-hmm.
And really the whole
Late goal.
the whole
Late
the
goal
whole
to win.
Mongols thing and the whole Beautiful Game Network thing got started from basically my brother and I. We're like 8 years apart, and he lives in Tennessee. And we used to be really close. We're still really close, but we just didn't talk very frequently. And so we ended up going to a Hounds game, and we sat up in the one section, and there were a bunch of older guys up there with us, and we found ourselves just sort of commentating on the game as it was going on the whole time, and just having a blast doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And we said, hey, we should just try doing a show where we're forced to talk to each other every week, and even if nobody listens to it, then we'll still have fun doing it. And really, that's where it started. That was 5 years ago. That we started doing the Mongols podcast, and it since has grown substantially. We now have a team of 6 people that are all working with us and producing great content, and that and BGN just sort of snowballed from that initial idea of, hey, let's just do something even if nobody listens to it. So it's pretty
Okay.
cool.
So can you kind of give everybody an idea what is the big idea behind BGN?
Sure. So, the initial idea behind BGN was just, hey, we created this podcast, and creating podcasts is kind of tricky. So if there's anybody who wants help doing that, we're happy to help. Like, we're happy to pass along what we've learned. And really, that's how it started. We had a couple of friends that we had on the show from other towns, and they said, hey, we'd really like to get started creating our own podcast. Would you be able to help us out? And we said, yeah, sure. We've already sort of laid the groundwork, so let's just do it. But really, the big idea is that there's so many of us out there. I mean, you guys know how many shows just in Louisville alone, where we're
we're all trying to do our own thing, and we're producing really great content, from the fans, by the fans, getting awesome interviews from players and coaches and staff members and things like that. And oftentimes it almost feels like you're on an island trying to do it yourself, but really there's hundreds of us all over the country that are all doing it together. And really it started off as like 3 or 4 shows. And then now we're at the point where we have, I think, 100 and some contributors to BGN, where it's podcasters, writers, and everybody just sort of hanging out and sharing ideas and sharing connections and talking about players and dropping news. And it went from just being USL to, now we have a huge contingent of USL League One people that are covering things. We have MLS. Awesome. We have a few people. We have a couple of people covering NPSL. We have a couple of people covering the Premier League. So really, it's been crazy. Like I can't really wrap my head around everything that it's become. But I think for that reason, it's been fantastic because it's grown beyond just myself. I never want to be sort of the bottleneck in this, and I'm glad that I've been able to sort of step back and not be, and just sort of everyone else is bringing ideas and doing things, and it's organically just exploding, which is just awesome.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, one thing that struck me about, well, 2 things actually. First of all, I saw you had sent out that invitation just if any podcasters were interested, and I looked through my library and I just kept seeing on just about every soccer podcast I listened to, that little BGN logo. I was like, wow, I listen to most of these. I mean, of course Mongols, the USL show, the Nashville one that I just drew a blank on the name of.
Speedway Soccer.
Speedway Soccer, thank you. Unused subs in Tampa. Tons of them.
Yeah, it's like I said, I think the biggest advantage of being part of the network is the easy access to all of the amazing people that put together those shows. So, I don't consider what we do, especially on Mongols, to be anything amazing. But, I look at some of the stuff that Ben Wright out of Nashville is doing on a weekly basis, especially last season. He was pumping out tons of stats and projections all season long. Obviously, you guys are doing amazing stuff out of Louisville, the unused subs guys out of Tampa. And it seems like every time there's a new team that comes in, there's some fan out there that reaches out and says, hey, either I already have a show and I'd like to be part of it, or I don't know how to get started, but I have something to say and I'd really like to say it. And so, we can help them get started and just say, okay, this is exactly how we set it up. You just record your audio, we'll take care of the rest. And it's giving people that platform to have that conversation. I think that's the biggest thing, is the conversation is so important. And I think that, you guys know, you guys talk to a ton of people. You just had Mike Watts on, for crying out loud. You guys talk to a ton of different people, but the number of people that we've talked to in different front offices, in different academies and things like that, what we're doing is so heavily appreciated, I think, across the board, even though you may not always hear that, but it does make an impact and it does help grow the game. So, even though we're just getting together and hanging out and having a good time chatting, it's a very valuable resource, I think, for everybody involved. So, yeah, we just enjoy doing it. And I'm glad to see that it is such a valuable resource to everybody.
Hey, Mike, this is Joe here, and thanks for joining us. A couple questions for you.
Sure.
Do you see a lot of people reaching and branching out into doing the video thing or live streams, or do you see more people still trying to do the sort of traditional record it and then drop it the next day type deal?
To be honest, I think that the video thing is sort of that next frontier that a lot of people they want to do, but I think they're nervous about doing.
Guys. We're pioneers.
I know. Legitimately, you guys are, because I think that a lot of people are like, well, if I'm going to do the video thing, I need like a studio, or I need to, at least have.
They really don't.
Well, I mean,
all you need is my dining room.
You got the scarves hanging up, and you just sort of hang out, and it's all good. No, we've been having discussions at Mongols about trying to do some more video stuff. I think one of the things that we're going to be doing at BGN is trying to help everybody understand what they can do on a technical level. So, you guys are obviously fortunate that you're all in one place. So you sort of set up a camera and you guys can stream it. We have a lot of shows where you have hosts that are in different locations all over the country, which is cool because everybody brings a different perspective, but filming something like that gets a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
There are ways to do it. It's just a matter of, once we sort of crack that nut, we can then share that with the entire network, and I think you'll see sort of an explosion.
That's where the next thing leads. For me, it's more about the technical end of it. I mean, there's a lot of us, a lot of us have a lot of passion supporting our teams, and a lot of us have, I think the idea of asking questions and the formats are pretty easy. It's more about, like for us when we were talking about this, like buy a new camera, who buys the lights, who does this, who does that. It's a daunting thing. Like we recently had someone, Robin Pryor, she's helped, we've had her on a couple times, who just started her own podcast. And she basically just said, I want to have a podcast. And she was very, I don't want to say, she wasn't inhibited, but the biggest thing is taking that first step and getting the gear. Is there a repository?
She joined BGN, by the way.
And she did join. Yeah. Okay. And the whole idea is, like for me personally, one of the things I would look for as a member of this now is a repository of information and data relating to the architecture of the shows more so than is that something that you see developing?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, for sure. We have documentation in place already that we've shared, to anybody who wants it, where we talk about, okay, just from a recording standpoint, what are the basics of recording a podcast? What sort of things would we recommend that you get? What sort of things do we recommend you don't need right away, but if you really want it, you could do it. And how do you go about recording guests? Like what platforms? I mean, you guys know using Facebook Messenger, you can use Skype. For a while, people were using Hangouts, but just having that all in one place where where somebody who has no idea what they're doing could look at this and go, okay, I got it. And even things like having guests call in to you, communicating that out. And then I think once people have that and they feel confident, what I don't want to do is I don't want to tell people how to do their show. I think I think podcasting is something that has exploded in and of itself. And I think a lot of people listen to shows and they get a sense of what it is they'd like their show to be. So if they want feedback, we're happy to give them feedback and say, hey, we really like this piece, maybe you want to spend a little more time on this piece. But for the most part, we want people's shows to be reflective of who they are and the communities that they come from, so that, it is something that connects directly with the supporters groups in their areas or local businesses in their areas or the team in and of itself. But yes, that knowledge base of, the 100+ people that are involved is definitely something that we try to tap into and share with as many people as we can.
And then one thing I would ask is, I'm more than happy, and I think everybody would be okay with this, is eventually making a member of another podcast that is part of the network a regular guest. You know what I'm saying? Like, is bringing somebody on for 15 minutes every show and say, this is the so-and-so from so-and-so. Hopefully we can get something like that going. And as a suggestion, I would tell anybody, before I pass it back over to Matt, I would say doing shows that are outside the soccer thing. I mean, I think having fun with the people that you do these shows with and watch completely outside of that comfort zone. I think, doing a show about whatever, it doesn't even matter. That would be my suggestion, because that's one of the things I'm looking forward to doing, is doing shows that have literally nothing to do with soccer, but bringing the audience in that's part of watching it and just having fun with them. What do you think?
Oh, no, 100% for sure. I think something that sort of blew our mind a little bit was this year with Mongols, like I said, we're going into our 5th season. One of the things that we started doing is we have exclusive content for our Patreon followers. And so we started just doing our regular Mongol show. And then as soon as we're done recording, we basically keep the mics going and we record an after show.
Right.
And for a while we were toying with, okay, well, what do we talk about on the after show? Is it like stuff that we can't talk about on the main show because maybe it's not fully public info or what? And the feedback that we got from our Patreon followers, they were like, no, we want to know like what you had for dinner, what movies you're watching.
Exactly.
It's completely random stuff, which we were like, really? But people like it and we enjoy talking about it. So we've started. Right. It is. It's
I
easy.
had a burrito.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Hot dogs.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, the bit about having other people from other shows on your show, that was one of the big things that we tried to do, especially early on, was look, anytime that we do, you guys know, you're going into a game against the Hounds. Like it's very easy, for me to sit there and read off stats about Louisville.
Sure, that's just
who's going to know Louisville better than, obviously we're going to know better. It's
exactly.
you guys. So it would be much better just to have you on the show and say, hey, tell us what we should expect about Louisville. And so, we've encouraged everybody to do it, but there have been a number of crossover shows that have been more intentional, where sometimes we'll even just record one audio and we'll put it on both streams. And that way it saves, if it saves both teams from, either side from having to do their own stream if they don't want to. But it's expanding that conversation and getting people more valuable information that they can actually take into the game and go, oh yeah, I heard somebody say that.
Excellent.
That's really cool. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. So you talked about you started Mongols in what, 2015? You said.
Yeah, 5 years ago.
Yeah, that was actually the year Louisville joined the league. I've got to say, Pittsburgh is one of those teams that, in the time I've been watching, has just jumped ahead leaps and bounds from where they were. Like in 2017 was the first time I came up for the game. We played Tartan Devils on Wednesday and then Pittsburgh Riverhounds on Saturday. So just came up, made a weekend of it. And it's such a beautiful stadium, had such a good time, but the team was still, it felt like trying to make that transition up to the Division II environment. Can you kind of compare that to where it is now once Lily came in and what that was like going through as a supporter of the team?
Lily Ball.
Oh, it's Lily Ball. It's a thing, man. Honestly, it's I was listening to the USL show the other week and they were doing predictions. And at the time that they released the show, I think the Hounds had 14 players signed to their roster. I mean, this was like last week, but they still rank the Hounds as one of the top teams in the East because of Bob Lilly.
As they should.
And so, honestly, as a fan, it's been crazy because the first year that we started doing this heavily, it was a down year after the year before that. And the Hounds they got rid of a manager. They brought in a new manager. That manager lasted about a year and a half. So anytime you have a new manager, you have that you guys went through that. You have sort of that transition. So it's been rough. I mean, last year was definitely the best year for us as fans since I've been doing this. But you're right. I mean, I think that the expectations for soccer fans in Pittsburgh are extremely high. We want to see this team succeed, but we're also in a city where literally within walking distance, you have the Steelers, you have the Penguins, and you have the Pirates, which makes it tough. But I think that the ownership group, they've been extremely open and they share all sorts of information with us about sort of their plans and what they want to do moving forward. And I think that they're being extremely intelligent about the way that they grow. We see a lot of these teams that go out and they immediately build 10,000, 15,000 seat stadiums and then not sure if they can actually fill it. And I think at this point, the Hounds are at 5. They're looking to expand to 7.5. There's a plan to go to 10, it sounds like. But it's doing it incrementally. You never want to have a stadium. Yeah, you never want to have a stadium that's...
Highmark, I'm sorry.
Yes, Highmark Stadium.
The view in that stadium is absolutely breathtaking.
Yeah.
Breathtaking.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. And that's the trick is you want to grow, but you also don't want to lose that view. So how do we, make that happen? Mm-hmm. And I mean, honestly, look, as fans, I think we often are looking at different models for ways that we think that teams that are doing it right. And for a while, I think we were pointing at Red Bulls 2 for a while, which feels weird because it's a 2 team. But in terms of sort of how they were developing talent and working their way up and all of that. But honestly, I mean, look, hats off to you guys. When we take the field against you guys, it's like nothing but hatred. But you guys are fantastic fans, and tailgating together is great. And that stadium looks absolutely gorgeous. So I think that you guys have set the bar, especially in the East, most likely for the whole league. That's where everyone wants to be. So I think, especially with all of your consistent, we've been talking about this for a while on the show. It's like we can't consider ourselves a top team until we knock you guys out. And so, my fear is that you guys coming in for our home opener
I thought for sure you'd done it last year.
I thought you'd done it last year, and I was teasing you a little bit before, but I have nothing but respect for the team, nothing but respect for the supporters there. I mean, it's because of what you just mentioned. I mean, you have 3 Division I teams up there. And to have, trying to build a soccer culture, you have a bigger hurdle than we do. Because what do we have as far as Division I? Nothing. We
got U of L and UK basketball, which I'm surprised they're having.
Well, with the way they're paid, it's like Division I.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yep.
But I guess it's about 8:54. So
okay, well, I guess just a couple other things. I know the game here is on a Wednesday. Do you know is there any chance are you or anybody else going to be making it down, you think?
It sounds like there could be an unofficial bus trip, but you
Nice.
didn't hear that from me.
Nice.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So
I
we'll
can't
see.
wait. It'll be fun. And, of course, if you're going to be at the opener, I'll be happy to share some bourbon with you. I always like to bring some up.
Awesome, man. No, that sounds fantastic. Yeah, I will definitely keep an eye out for you guys for sure.
Excellent. Thank you. So, into the segment, anything you want to talk about, bring up, pitch, plug, yell about, whatever.
No,
The floor is yours.
listen, I appreciate you guys, doing what you do and, being a leader here on the whole video side of things so that we can pick your brain about how that's going. But honestly, we just
don't worry
love,
about. We're really kind of dumb. I mean, don't trust me when I tell you we're not very intelligent. We are photogenic though.
Oh, yes.
I definitely
To the blind.
I do have something that I'd like to add that I could
listen,
suggest for you
appreciate
guys.
The humbleness and I appreciate the conversation. And like I said, I think that's what it's all about. Is it's just getting fans together and talking about the things that they love. So we're definitely looking forward to having you guys on Mongols anytime that we play Louisville and
Heck
vice
yeah.
versa. And yeah, man, I'm just looking forward to a great season. And we're thrilled that you guys have joined us along with Robin. I think this is just going to be a whole lot of fun.
Absolutely.
And we just can't wait to get started.
Derek, you
Absolutely.
had something?
Oh yeah. If you guys haven't tapped into Twitch at all, they have stream groups on Twitch, and it would not harm you to start a Twitch group because you can have multiple
Perfect. Right.
multiple streams on the same group, so you could
Okay,
start a
that's a good
BGN
idea.
group,
Yeah.
and you could tie in all of those things.
And
Just a suggestion.
If we stream at different times, we can even host each other.
Sure,
Exactly.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that would be.
I can set that up to auto host. Actually, it's real
Nice.
easy.
Well, man, really appreciate you coming on, and thank you for your thoughts. And hopefully we can hook up when you come down here.
For sure, man. Sounds great. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
Thank you,
take
Mike.
it
Have a
easy.
good one.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
I have an announcement.
Mike Sparks.
Very, very important
Go
announcement.
ahead, do it.
Lincoln Davis,
Uh-oh.
it is time for bed, sir.
That's all that matters. Go to bed.
Well, Schmidt, you.
So there's
Prepare
a lot,
yourself for the bed, child.
there's a lot of opportunity there. So there really
Yeah,
is.
there is.
And-
I'm really excited about being part of it, too.
Yeah, so Matt, thank you so much for setting that up.
Mhm.
Really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns into. So I want to get back a little bit to some of the local stuff. I had a couple things I wanted to ask you about.
Okay.
There is the leagues themselves for kids that they play in. I haven't asked anybody about this yet.
You're talking about in reference to the select leagues that we have
Yes.
in town.
Is it how coordinated, disjunct? Is it good? Is it? I don't want to put you on the spot. I feel funny asking you it that way.
Right.
What can we do?
Well,
to,
the club I coach for is terrible.
Okay.
No, just kidding. I'm kidding.
So, first question is what do you think the supporter community or anything could do to help bring that a little bit up more? I mean, what am I asking there? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. One of the things that it is problematic that I think is going to be rectified quite a bit. One of the things that was problematic for years is that the soccer talent pool in Louisville was so spread out over so many different clubs.
Yeah.
You had KFJ, Javanon, Oldham County, United, Ohio Elite, and there's other I'm sure I'm forgetting. So if you've got a pool of X number of U12 players, they go where their friends are, then one kid leaves and goes there, and then the other kid goes, and then it's just incestuous. It's all, oh, that sounds terrible.
No.
Yeah,
I understand exactly what
It's
you mean.
just all just spread around, and the pot is just
Sure,
stirred.
sure.
What I think is going to happen, and it's begun a little bit, is I think with the academy that Louisville City's putting together, what those kids are going to want to do is like at the U12 kids. I know they're at U17 right now, or the U23s. I can't remember, but once those kids start getting into that pipeline, it's like, well, I'm going to go to Louisville City because it's Louisville City.
Right.
I'm not going to go because my friend is playing at KFGA. I'm not going there. I'm going where the best coaching and talent and all that stuff's going to be
Right.
and get developed because, every kid at 12, 13 years old is looking going, man, I cannot wait to play in the pros.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
And I think that's something that Louisville City is going to be I think really spearheading. And Mario, who's came
He's
back
just a
from,
wonderful guy.
He is.
Mario Sanchez is just a nice dude.
Okay, so also I was out at Worley. I play every Saturday and Sunday. We were there and finished up, and Louisville City's that U23 team came in right before they were going down to Florida.
Oh, okay.
Not only was Mario out there, a guy named Simon Bird who's got tons of playing and coaching experience was out there. Tabani Sutu shows up.
I love him.
I've heard he was back.
He's got to be on the
great
show.
guy.
We've got to get him on the show.
And James O'Connor. James O'Connor. The two of them, I sat out there and talked to him for 35 or 40 minutes talking about the players and all this other stuff. And think about the director of your entire system is out there on a Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock and it's 18 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was like, that's the kind of thing that the kids are going to look at and it's going to be beautiful.
And here's the other thing, though. And there's nothing wrong with having that pinnacle that you want to achieve and aspire to for a young kid. At the same time, there's still a level of autonomy that needs to be maintained among the youth programs. You know what I'm saying? Because here's my concern, and it could be a stupid concern, is that, all right, we've got all these, Louisville City is here, and we want all our kids defeated. And I want all the kids defeated there. I'm not trying to, the last thing I want to do is knock it. I'm not. But you could turn into the kind of thing where, I'm using a number here, there's 10 teams. Well, all the kids from this team always end up going up to Louisville City, so let's go play for that team. And all the kids from this team, they get more attention. So all of a sudden, you don't have 10 teams anymore. Now you got 6. You know what I'm saying? So,
I will.
Does that
I
make
see
sense?
your point. Yeah, saying okay, we were so spread out, and you got all this talent pool was so diluted,
right.
that now it's going to be like, oh, we're just going to go to the one. That I don't know that's going to happen.
Okay,
I think
okay.
what will happen is some of these teams that shouldn't be teams. Like I have coached at places where they've created an extra team where you've got 4 kids, 5 kids that are of the caliber that should be. Then you've got 4 or 5 that are just on the borderline, and then you got 4 or 5 that I don't know why you're on this team. We just need bodies.
Right.
So
right.
I think it's going to there's going to be some attrition of some of those teams.
Okay.
But I think that what Louisville City is going to do is they're not going to go, okay, hey, from this team we're pulling players.
Right.
They're going to go out and they're just going to scout and see kids that they want on the team.
Sure.
And it's really not going to make any difference where they're playing.
Because you see that with high school sports, and the reason I'm saying this because I have no idea. I'm not saying that it is or it isn't. It turns into the kind of thing where there's 3 programs that everybody wants to pull from. And now I grew up in a town that was a public school. And, for example, if we had football talent, if there was a kid that was a football player, they weren't going to play in Kearney because the team just wasn't that good. Academy steals them, and that's that. No, I just don't want to see – I don't want to see youth teams disappear simply because kids are congregating thinking that that's the best conduit to move up because there's still a foundation.
Well, the other thing too,
and if I'm wrong, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if it's a stupid concern, that's fine too.
I don't. It's something to think about. And if you see some sort of things going in that direction, I could see maybe raising a flag. But there's not only is there the select side of things, but the club side, travel, whatever you want to call it. There's also the rec side, like the Sawyer Youth Soccer Association, JSA Youth Soccer Association. Okay. And did you play JSA? Oh, okay. And
I played in Sawyer.
I mean, there's even the why. It's not the greatest coaching in the world. It's just
Lincoln's going to play at Sawyer.
The kids love the game, and there's an outlet for somebody everywhere, somewhere, regardless of the level.
Right. I don't see teams disappearing so much as it's our issue is trying to keep kids in it after they hit a certain age.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
Yeah. So it's like, what is it, 16 when they start to go poof?
Well, what happens is, when, again, coming up, it was in the fall you played soccer. Or at least I did. I played soccer. I swam in the winter to stay in shape for soccer.
You look like a swimmer.
In the summer, I'd play baseball.
I'm a floater.
Well, that St. Pool is pretty nice, so it's a good opportunity to swim.
They didn't have a pool at the time.
They didn't? Oh.
No. And my year was the last year they did not win the state championship, by the way.
I've got Lincoln. So he's going to play spring soccer, fall soccer. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put him in all the camps this year. This is the first year that I'm really going all out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put him in all the camps. Louisville City's got their camps. He's going to go to those. I'm going to, next year, I'll probably put him in club ball. But he's running cross country So I'm
Nice.
like perfect,
That's
dude.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna prep you. So
Yeah.
he
Different
Best thing
different
you can
fitness
do.
though.
yeah, well, yeah.
That's true. That's true.
But he's we're working on his timing and stuff like that.
Right.
And you got I feel like that's why I liked indoor so much, because you get all the fundamentals and
One
stuff.
of the very best, and you get tons of touches on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Futsal is something that's great. You can talk to Charlie Trauber. He runs an entire futsal league, and there's another guy.
Rob Illiff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Illiff or Illiff?
I always say Illiff.
Okay.
I think he just accepts
his name just popped out of my head there. But yeah, I've known both those guys for a pretty good amount of time, and that's a great way to get tons of touches on the ball. And the thing that I cannot stress enough for some of these kids is watch the game. Either Louisville City or
Right.
watch the Bundesliga.
Right.
That's my favorite league. Or
That's a
the
great-
EPL, and watch it with purpose. If you go watch it just for entertainment purposes, that's wonderful. But if you want to become a better player,
Sure.
find a player you play, find the position you are, and what are you doing, and what is that guy doing, and why? Think about why is he doing that. A lot of those kind of things.
I'll tell you who's like that. I mean, it's hard to watch it. It's been years too. France. You want to talk about players that know where they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to be, and why.
I have not watched any
it's been
French.
years. I'm going back now. No, it's not that long actually. But it's unbelievable. There's a mixture of artistry and math that goes on there. It's perfect. I think. It's just that I'm an Everton fan. Damn me. Speaking of, let's move on a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about Tim Howard playing in Memphis. I love Tim Howard.
I hope his bones stay healthy.
41-year-old,
Yeah.
I think, or 40-year-old Tim Howard
Yeah,
playing
and how do you
Is
feel
he
about
like
that,
a
Keith?
manager
As,
Come on,
as a
Keith.
keeper?
As a keeper, how do you feel about 40-year-old?
I have no issues with it at all. Pat Jennings played in the World Cup for Northern Ireland in '86.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, goalkeepers hit their prime in the mid-30s.
I hear you. Yeah, they definitely hit it later than others. That's true.
It's just if you start losing that fast twitch muscle-esque type stuff, which I did notice as I stopped playing goalkeeper, because in my head is going, go, and I'm like,
"Screw
and I'm
you.
watching the ball, and my
Go for-
eyes are following it, but the rest of me is going,
Go for what? A donut?
I'm moving. No, I'm not. Yes, go. So
I tried it, but I was not very good at it.
it's.
I grew up.
frustrating.
I played striker my entire life, and then after I ruptured my Achilles, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna hop in the goal and see if I can do that.
It's
and
just
It's a different animal.
man.
it's just that I've been busting MLS on, and look,
I am not an MLS fan.
I'm not an
just to
MLS
let you
fan.
know.
I'm not, and I doubt if they're in their current format ever will be. But I still respect that. There's fans, right? I don't want to dog their fans. It's not fair.
No.
If there's a person that enjoys and loves an MLS team, enjoy an MLS that team, because MLS teams go into their communities. How can I sit here and talk about being crappy when you look at Red Bull's academy and what they've accomplished? It's amazing. They have a great academy. Or you look at LAFC recently, people that are really reaching out to their communities. So if some kid has some sort of advantage that he didn't have a couple of years ago, she didn't have, because of an MLS team, I'm going to dog the MLS team. That's crap.
The
It's
only-
not a crap thing to
the
do.
people or the fans or anything. It's just the product. I just don't like the
Yeah.
product.
The
It's
only
not
reason-
very good.
Well, the only reason Columbus has a team is because of their community.
There you go.
Yeah.
I hear that.
They
Good
jumped
call.
in and said, "Nope, you're not taking our team away," and they did it. Like that was.
I remember watching Brian McBride play. in
Yeah.
Columbus.
Oh,
Gosh,
yeah.
that guy was a stud. I
But
love
here,
Brian
but here's the thing.
I actually saw Alexis
See,
Lalas
that's
play
funny
there.
though. But I remember seeing Tony Miola playing Carney, playing high school ball. And here's the thing. It's like, it's hard to judge Tim. And I love, the reason I'm an Everton fan is because of Tim Howard. And it's hard to judge him for doing this, because I know there's some criticism about, here's this old dude playing keeper. I'm not going to say that's not a fair criticism. It is a fair
But
criticism.
the question isn't what his age is irrelevant.
Can he play?
Can he play?
And you know what? As an entertainer my whole life, if he could put asses in the seats, hey, he's got to get paid. It's his team.
he has a great beard.
At the end of the day, it's
And that's
if
all that
can
matters,
he,
really.
Can he produce?
If he produces.
And the thing is that it's so frustrating. Ironically, I had this exact conversation with James O'Connor. We're sitting here, we're watching these kids play, and I'm going, just because it's a habit from whenever I'm coaching, kids are behind me, and I'm facing one way or the other, and I say, oh, should have looked here, or should have run there, or done things like that. And I'm saying this stuff, and he looks over at me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, James. It's just a habit thing. He's like, yes, I know. I go, the thing that drives me so crazy is now I'm at this age, and I can see stuff half, 3, 4, 5 seconds, not really that long, before it happens
Right,
and where
right, of
something
course.
should happen.
Right.
And it just drives me crazy. And he goes, yeah. How did he put it? He goes, yeah, what they say, youth is wasted on.
Youth.
No. Whatever is wasted on the
young.
youth or whatever.
Yeah.
However he does it.
Youth
He
is
does-
wasted on the young, I think is how the
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
goes.
I'm sorry, I had to step away. Are we still talking about Tim Howard?
No.
No, we're
So,
moving
but
on.
anyway, I'm thinking that Tim Howard's experience and ability to be able to read the game will make up for a lot of what he loses.
I'm looking forward to seeing him. Like I'm going to be that guy because first of all, he was raised in Jersey, okay, and I'm an Everton supporter because of him. I'm going to be that guy that's going to be like, hey, can you sign my jersey? I'm going to be one of those dorks, okay. But at the same time, I remember him being the keeper for the Trinidad and Tobago game, okay, and and he's an MLS. He can't. I'm not going to say it's hard for me to balance, but it's to me that matters a little bit, man. I'm sorry. What do you think? You guys, if I'm being an idiot about it, I'll own it. It's just that I don't know what to think about it.
I can't believe that Belgium didn't kill Tim Howard.
That's the greatest keeper I've never seen anybody. He saved us in that. I mean, just like
it was a thing of beauty.
that was unbelievable.
You just get
Majestic.
in that zone, and it's just.
But it's not just that. Being an Everton supporter and watching some of the games that he played there and how he saved our asses when Moyes was coach, because everybody talks about, we had consistency. We had him. I'm not saying there were other players that weren't.
I've never seen anything like that in my life. I was just sitting on the couch like every time he'd stop a ball, I would be like, my God, this guy.
If he can contribute, good for him. I mean, I went to Memphis. They've got a really quality fan base there.
Good
That
for
did
them.
not look like a first-year club.
Right.
They deserve the best. If he can make the team better, good for him.
Right. So I just wanted to bring that up because it matters to have guys like Tim Howard and Donovan, another guy that played over in Everton, to have that type and Villa, those types of guys involved in this league. I mean, that's massive.
I think it's a great thing.
I wonder what the over and under is on Landon Donovan suiting up for the Loyal out there.
He won't.
He's been playing indoor.
He's been playing, but he can't. He won't last out. His knees. He's shot. His body is shot. He is.
Man,
And he likes to eat cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a cheeseburger guy. So
He'll maybe play a game.
nah, he won't. I don't. We could wager a shot.
He'll do it for
on that,
tickets.
but-
I bet he plays for tickets.
See, that's why I wanted to bring up the whole Tim Howard thing. Is that I was afraid, if the Colorado picked him up for one reason and one reason only, to start putting some more asses in the seats.
Absolutely. Why
And there's
not?
nothing wrong with that from a entertainment perspective. I understand that, but from a quality perspective, one of the things we always talk about with MLS is the quality.
Yes,
So,
but there's
you know-
a difference. The quality of you having a Tim Howard playing in goal again, it's not as. It's a very key position,
Sure,
but it's not.
right.
As it will probably not be as glaring. He might miss some goals that get scored on him because he's just not quite as fast as he used to be.
Right.
He might get scored on, but it's not going to be like, guy just runs past him and he just can't catch the guy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
somebody in the midfield or something like that would happen to somebody like in that situation.
And you got to
But-
think he's a lot more likely to be where he should be compared to a younger man.
Yeah, and it's 41 is not that old.
Somebody
No,
needs to
it's
call
not.
up.
And that's the other thing. And that's the last thing I wanted. I have a note here. 41 today versus 41 in 1990, whole different animal.
You're absolutely right.
With the conditioning stuff that they do now and everything like that. So maybe he will still be,
He will definitely be able to contribute. I don't have any.
Somebody needs to call up Casey Keller.
I don't know how old's that dude.
Keller. Well, he's got to be close to 50 now. Nah, 40.
I'll put the gloves back on.
Yeah. MLS opening weekend on television.
Meh.
All the games, 750,000. The XFL had 1.8 million. I don't know what to say about that. I'm not trying. Like I said,
A lot of the MLS teams are using XFL as a secondary form of revenue.
I guess because there's man, XFL. I'm hoping that league takes off, and I'm hoping eventually they bring a team here because I'll support it. But when a fledgling league two times you as far as attendance, and you've been around for 25 years, and you're supposed to be the premier league, I'm sorry, I got issues with that. I don't know. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You tell me. I don't know.
Again, I think it's the product on the field. It's MLS is so much. The ball is in the air all the time. It is, and it's just like I'm going to show
It's
you
like watching freaking ping pong.
how much I can muscle you off the ball.
Right.
It's
Well, that's
not,
what you see. You just said something there that's really, really true. Is that there's air and there's contact.
Yep.
As opposed to creativity and artistry.
Yep.
You are absolutely 100%.
And that's what I
That is
don't
so
like
true.
about it. I watched the finals when Atlanta won it, and I was just like going, "Oh, good! Put the ball on the freaking ground."
Absolutely.
It just
you just
so
nailed it. You
drives
nailed
me
it.
crazy.
It's like watching. I'm going to bring it back to the NFL thing. Throwing bombs, as opposed to the West Coast offense. Or college basketball, 3-pointers versus control, and that's a great call.
Yeah, so that's the reason I like it. And I get and when it first started, it was the best. It was the only thing in town, the only thing you could see. And now, I think last year, 2 years ago, Louisville had the largest watching viewership of soccer in the country. We're in the top 5. It's because I think there's a lot of people who appreciate the quality of good soccer.
I think old school MLS, there was a certain there was a lot more quality back in the late 90s and early 2000s.
It was different.
Like you remember when Stern John was in the league?
No.
It was ridiculous how fun. I had a lot of fun watching it back then. Now I'm just kind of.
My question is, because you didn't know any better back then, because it's all you really had, or is it because now you can watch an Everton
Good
or a Manchester City out there knocking the ball around?
You can watch Netherlands second division if you're, as opposed
so
to
now you're like, wow, that's really good, and then you compare it. Like, go back and watch a video of one of those games or a couple of those games. You will be utterly amazed. I watched some of my high school soccer stuff, and we lost 2 games my entire career in high school. We sucked.
Okay.
I would be so angry as a coach.
I know you were. Yeah.
I would be like, "What are you guys doing?"
Right.
So I think it might be just a little bit of, "Oh, it was so awesome," and versus not knowing that was.
I think it was a
not that good.
difference. I think it was a difference in quality between, like Stern John was a step ahead of almost everybody in the league back then, and that's back when you had like Lawless played in the league, and you had McBride and all. There was like all these individual talents, and they were just dissecting these horrible defenders, and but that made it fun to watch for me because you get to see those the individual talent just kind of like outshine everybody. But but now it's I guess there's a not a healthy mix, but kind of a there's too much. I don't know. Everything's like on the same level in MLS, and that's why the ball is always in the air.
Right.
So it's like now it's not as fun because there's not that there's no spark. There's like no individual talent that stands out from the rest. Of course, you bring in like Rooney, and he's an old guy now. So it's like
or 13 goals still last year
at that league, and then Ibra lit the league up.
Well,
at 38 years old. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't care what your league is.
Look at what Beckham did when he came
man,
in.
right. Yeah. No 38-year-old man should light up a league for goals. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, what am I missing something there?
No.
Every time they have the MLS All-Stars play a European team.
I was in Bermuda when the league first started. I was in Bermuda on vacation, and they were playing MLS All-Stars were playing somebody. I don't remember who it was. They were getting absolutely ripped. I mean, it was just like, and we're sitting at this bar. It was the Red Turtle, the Red Lion Inn, or something like that in Bermuda.
the Red Turtle.
It was that's what it was. It was
Raphael.
Raphael. But it was, and Bermuda. I know they're not known for
Good
soccer,
grass?
but but the bar that we were at was like literally like one of only 2 local bars that you would go to, and everybody was just like laughing. I don't know if they're not laughing anymore. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be shitty to MLS fans. I really am not.
It's not the fans. I got nothing wrong with the fans. It's the product.
No, but I just don't want to be hurtful to the people that support. I'm not trying to be mean to them. And educate me if I'm missing something. But, the quality don't ask me to be like, yeah, I can't wait to watch Atlanta play the freaking Swirly Stars from when the quality just isn't that good. I'm sorry. I don't.
I think it's getting it is also getting a little diluted as well. I mean, the very high quality players are not going to stay and play. If you have a choice of playing even in maybe the championship division in England, or Bundesliga 2 or Serie A 2 or whatever their second division is, even a top tier team that could get promoted, are you going to stay here and play for Real Salt Lake? No, you're not. You're going to go to Europe. Everybody wants to go to Europe because that is where you can get proven and prove that you are a quality player.
Right. So that's where I'm at with that. I'm going to ask you guys a question about something here. We got the coronavirus thing going on. Okay? I don't know if you all...
I don't drink that stuff.
Yeah, but they have... Italy has not banned, but for the next month, the matches in Serie A are going to be not attended by anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be on television. I kind of get that a little bit,
Yeah.
If
the fans are going to be in close contact for that whole time, they're going to be eating, they're going to be drinking, they're going to be drinking, they're going to be drinking more.
Right.
And that's all in close contact, where if somebody's coughing in that environment, I mean, you could infect 20, 30 people.
You could be. And I get that. EPL announced about 6 hours ago. You ready for this? Because when I saw this, I was just like,
they're going to start
you all got your heads
coronavirus.
You all got your heads up your ass. Check this out. EPL, their answer to this is the players are not going to shake hands before the games.
Perfect.
I thought it was after, but yeah.
Look at this. Look at that.
Speaking of the coronavirus.
You know what has to happen to prove that
I'm not going to get it.
But
the antidote.
Here's to prove that we're invulnerable, we'll probably have to share that beer.
Well, here's my whole deal on the coronavirus.
Go ahead.
I'm not that worried about it. Almost the majority of the people that are dying are either super young,
right,
or very old and already a little bit compromised.
And I get it. I mean, people,
the flu is killing more people as we speak.
But people judge how they choose to, and I hear you. I'm not disagreeing. My thing is, if your choice to try and handle the coronavirus is, well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make sure the players don't shake hands. Okay, I'm not for nothing, but are they going to touch each other on the field when they're sweaty after 70 minutes? I mean, I'm assuming that's going to happen. Are you going to go tackle somebody and be like, I can't touch you?
Mm-hmm.
Coronavirus.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they shake hands. Just give them the alcohol wipes or have them wash their hands. That's the preventative measure.
Yeah, but that's not the point. Because I'm like waiting for a referee or official, like, give somebody a card and a player comes up, he's going to touch him, but goes, no.
Yep.
Coronavirus.
Just make them play with respirators.
Joe, I don't know if you heard, but they're actually, this signal no longer means review. It means bring me a mask.
I got to do like this.
I want to see everybody running around and masks on the field.
That's crazy. When you said there's not, and the Serie A is not going to have any attendance, there was a Champions League
like Red
game
Bulls too.
That had none. I think it was Dynamo Dresbag or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
One of their, who was it against? It was against a large. It was a Champions League because they had some racial slurs, so they said you can't have anybody there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Most surreal thing in the world.
You know what though,
watch.
and that's one of the other things I wanted to talk about is some of the stuff that's going on overseas and how it doesn't need to come here, especially in this environment. We don't do politics. We don't do any of that nonsense here. But here's the thing. You have to police your own when it comes to that kind of thing. Well, when I say police your own, I don't mean if some idiot, if some douchebag decides that he's going to turn around and say something stupid, you keep your hands off of him. You don't do anything that you would, but that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah, I think the guy standing next to him is the one that needs to deal with it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing. There is nothing. Growing up in a multiracial family, there is nothing acceptable when it comes to race stuff. It's not acceptable on any level ever. If you even question that it might be okay, shut your friggin' mouth and don't say it. I get the passion of being at games, and you guys open it up. When you're at a game and you get lit up, you're upset, you're whatever. The team's losing, the team's winning, blah 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 blah. We all get wound up. What's the filter for you guys? I mean, is there one? I mean, think about it.
I'm still mad that somebody threw a beer at me, but
I think you just have a certain level of population that just goes, that is still that middle school kid They go just
Okay.
tries to find the one thing that they can say that would be the most hurtful, and those are the people that throw the racist stuff
And
around.
they're idiots. It's
Because
trash.
there's different groups. There's the guy that like. I look at Derek and I see I know for a fact he hates.
I
his
see
beer.
Kurt Russell.
Oh, I see it too. And I start calling him, and he hates it, and I start calling him
If you
Kurt Russell.
go watch Guardians of the Galaxy and tell me he
Definitely.
doesn't look like Kurt Russell.
He does.
I know what I'm going as for Halloween.
All right, it's settled.
So let's say that's the thing. I'm just going to be hurtful. But then there's the person that is actually a racist that is doing it because they just they're just ignorant. They have a legitimate reason to dislike somebody for stupid reasons.
Right.
Then there's those people. But I think that's not the majority of
No,
people. When you
it's
hear
not.
somebody like
It's
that
not.
lady at UK or whatever that threw that out there,
What
I
an
guarantee
asshole.
she was just being
Right.
probably
right.
drunk
Right.
and an a-hole.
Right.
Yeah.
Is exactly what
But
it
the
was.
point is that everybody has that insanity inside them. Everybody has words inside them. But it's never acceptable. It is never, ever, ever, ever acceptable to use language like that. I don't care what your reasons are. And I'm not trying to say this to try and be PC. Am I a PC person? No.
I don't think. Only if you mean you don't have a Mac.
Right. Thank you. The point is that you have to think a little bit. I mean, you get wound up at sporting events. I get wound up. We all do. But I have never even thought about using. Now, part of that probably has to do with my background, but at the same time, why would anybody do that? I'm hearing about this more and more in Europe about players that have said.
Now here's the question there too is that you're hearing about it more and more in Europe because I mean use social media as the scapegoat because it's so easily broadcast. Somebody's got their phone open. There's a video of almost every minute of every day now, and somebody catches something, so it's broadcast. Whereas 10 years ago, not 5 years ago, I say something stupid and nobody hears it except for my little group of friends here. So it's not nearly as prevalent.
Well, I think it helps. I think it helps to bring this out.
Oh, it does bring it out,
You know what
but-
I'm saying? And I hear you. I don't know if it's changed a whole lot. I would hope in my heart that it's changed a little bit. But, like recently at a Knicks game, it just happened not UK game. Some scumbag is sitting there screaming through a slur at somebody for whatever reason. What gets you to a point where you've got to do that? I
just think there's no filter. They don't think. It's really a lack of.
The point being, the greater
Too much
point
liquid
being,
courage.
and the reason I wanted to bring this up is because, we're moving into a beautiful new facility with a fan base that has never dealt with that. I mean, we've never, like in our groups, that is absolutely not cool. I mean, there's no way you'd get away with it.
Nor should you.
Nor should you.
Yeah.
The point being,
Should be that way everywhere.
please, if that's you, I'm not going to say stay home because I don't sell the tickets, but stay home.
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't want to deal with that. We have all of this great stuff going on, and I'm afraid that some people are going to get so wound up about whatever, and you get these trolls and these idiots that feel that it's their need to use social media to do stuff like that. Don't do it around me. And I'm not trying to say I'm not. The last thing I am is a social justice warrior.
I feel like our group would immediately point one of those people out.
Yeah.
Right, and I think it would be dealt with internally.
Right. And
And I say something stupid, you guys please jump my ass and say what the.
I mean, I say stupid stuff every.
No, I mean
Probably
if
say
I
30 stupid things on here. But I hear you, Keith.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? God, I'm sorry.
If you're going to judge people on arbitrarily and ultimately made up distinctions, you're just a damn idiot.
You're an
and
idiot.
keep your mouth shut.
Shut up. Go home. One more thing I want to bring up before we close it up. FIFA has apparently come up with, I don't know if it's FIFA or UEFA, came up with a theme song.
No.
Oh, this
no.
must be horrible.
They came up with a theme song.
and they need this for.
And all of these songs are all like these, they all try to do majestic shit with it.
Like Champions League.
Is it Shakira?
Yeah.
Is it Shakira
No,
singing about bribery?
No. What it is that you've got exactly. They've all got these things where they're like dun da da, dun da, and it's like
We're corrupt.
we're exactly.
They got a jingle.
And then Forward Madison, who I am going to go see a game this year. I will go up to Madison because they get it. The folks in Madison absolutely get it. I feel like an idiot. They came up with this thing like their Twitter feed. We have a new song, and I wasn't thinking.
FIFA did.
No. Forward Madison, this new team.
Okay.
Oh God.
They turn around and we've got a new song. I'm like, I got to hear this because I thought it was going to be funny without thinking. And I click on it, and I got friggin' rickrolled. Those bastards. I got rickrolled by Forward Madison. And I love the fact that teams like Forward Madison, Vegas, I think we're starting to do that now too, are really taking the lighter side to this whole deal.
I mean, the whole purpose of this is having fun, isn't it?
Exactly.
I mean,
And
there's...
they're realizing that.
So I'm going to go up to... I will go to a Forward Madison game this year. I'm going to do some shit to them. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but I'm doing it. Because how dare you rickroll me?
You need a banner with a bunch of pelicans on it.
Well, there's something flamingo. There's something that has to happen. Like, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to make it happen. But to the Forward Madison folks, they're doing a tremendous job. God bless. And there's other stuff, but none of this.
That'd be fun to do, yeah.
So anyway, it's 2 hours.
Yep.
Goes fast. I hope you had a good time.
I did. Very good time.
I would love to have you back.
Yeah, sure.
Well, you can
Reach out via Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah,
The
Derek
Twitter
hit
nuts.
me up about a month ago, and I said, yeah, sure. And then something came up or whatever. And
Well, then I go after Joe, and I'm like, hey, Joe, like Keith is a willing participant. And then I guess you reached back.
Well,
out
he
to
said
him.
willing
doesn't know any better.
He said willing participant, and I just went, oh no, he thinks somebody's a willing participant.
you can pay me when I leave.
But thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely,
And
my pleasure. It's
Very
good
happy
times.
to see you again.
Yeah, thank you.
And
Me
hopefully
too.
Join
Glad
us
to
again.
see you guys.
We'd love to have you come back and be one of our hosts again. We always ask everybody. We a little last segment called the Rim Shots. If anybody has anything that they'd like to add to the show,
Did we get any tips?
Tips?
Yeah, don't bet on
In
the
the-
horses.
Oh,
I don't know.
we did.
I
we
think there
did.
maybe one in there. No.
We got an offline subscription.
Awesome.
All right.
I'm not sure who it was from. It's because it's not listed.
Oh, cool.
It's weird. I don't know.
Anything you want?
It
Anything
was
you would
from
like to-
somebody in BGN. They
Well,
gotcha.
thank you. And that's part of this whole BGN thing that I'm really looking forward to is that if all of us supporting each other without really, and learning a whole about it, that's to me is what is going to make this next level stuff for us.
And we'll discover some interesting podcasts there too.
Right.
Like 1868 Weekly, the Reno podcast. That's
Right.
pretty good.
Right.
You'd never listen to that. You'd never have occasion to even know it exists.
Right.
I think it's great the amount of information that's going to be able to be traded.
Oh, it's gonna be-
in the detail. You
Yeah.
guys talking about Louisville City and Riverhounds talking about them, and you guys interacting is going to be for a fan, even for a casual fan.
Right.
Actually, probably more so for a casual fan. I think that would be a huge thing because they're going to be able to go to a game and watch both teams from a point of knowledge.
Right.
And you have one central clearinghouse for
Yeah.
news from the league that isn't curated and sanitized by the league.
Right.
Yeah.
Good call.
They need to reach out to FOTMob and see if they can be the news part of that
That's a good
feed.
idea.
Not bad. Derek, do you have anything you'd like to add to the end of this?
NPSL is a thing, and it is
Do it.
going.
Tell
it
us
is-
what's going to happen. Come on.
Yep.
We've been
it
waiting to
is.
hear.
NPSL is coming to Louisville.
Yes.
You will start hearing about it in about a
Wait,
week.
can I come up with a theme song? NPSL.
It's like
We're not corrupt.
We're NPSL. NPSL.
my neighbor.
That doesn't
Go ahead.
stand for
My
the
neighbors
polls.
upstairs moved out. I don't know if it's because of us or what.
No, go ahead. You know what? Go ahead.
It's
Do this.
definitely
I'm
because
going to
of
do
us.
NPSL music underneath. Go ahead.
What? Oh, no,
You can do the theme music while you
he's
talk.
gonna underlay me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So NPSL's come to Louisville, and they have an ownership group. The ownership group is definitely serious, and they have laid down all the capital that they need and everything to join the league. So it's legit. I do not want to say the name of the team yet because it is subject to change over the next 4 or 5 days.
We can't tell you the name.
And I have been formally invited to join them as their general manager.
Congratulations.
NPSL.
So
When
we're
you
gonna do
first
it.
started, that sounded like it was an apocalypse now.
NPSL.
Drop napalm on somebody.
And so we we
Nice
have
falsetto, by the way.
I got a lot of-
we have an opportunity to bring teams down here like Detroit, who has a very rabid and very entertaining fan base.
Any relation to the Waza?
So I'm sorry,
Any relation to the Waza?
no. The Waz are a bunch of
We saw
bunch
them
of
in
scrubs.
what,
The
2017.
they never did really well in any of the indoor leagues. I think they did long ago, but
Wazapalooza.
I remember when we were doing the Louisville Legends thing. They came down here and I think we beat them like 12-2 or something.
That's not good.
And I almost felt bad because the travel expenses and whatnot in that league were kind of, it's a little fledgling league, and the team, we don't make any money, and we're like renting buses and And I remember Waza, they came down here from Detroit, and we just drubbed them. And it was horrible. I mean, we brought Evansville down here one year, and we beat them like 23-1.
Well,
It was pretty
exciting.
pretty
Did
bad.
they know the game was going on?
It was the Evansville Crush, and they got crushed.
Crushed.
I've never
Evansville
seen anything
Crush.
like
One
it.
of the hardest parts about that league was getting people to travel.
Yeah.
Because we went to Evansville and had actually a relatively good game because the kids that lived there just stayed there, played, they had a good talent. And there were times I remember calling people the morning of a game, standing at the bus going, "Hey man, are you coming? Are you going to be here?" And, we'd end up, we're supposed to have 14 or 15 on the roster, and
Right.
we would have 12 show up.
This is PASL. After it went down a level,
PASL.
PSO. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what this develops into.
it should be fun.
Do you know how many games they have and stuff like that?
I want to say 8 to 10.
How many
8
games?
to 10, like every weekend, something along those lines.
How many games? How many games?
8 to 10.
Matthew, do you have anything you'd
I
like to add?
do. We found out that friend of Lou City, Sean Reynolds, has finally landed a
Right.
position at Chattanooga, the good one.
The good Chattanooga.
So yeah, that's another one. Plan a
Nice.
trip down there, cheer Sean on, because
Sir Reynolds, is
Yeah.
on your
Reynolds.
Twitter.
Congratulations.
absolutely beloved former player.
Yep.
Yeah, great guy.
Good
Great
for
guy.
him.
I had a chance to interview him when I was doing Louisville City, the Soccer City radio, and he's just a really good guy, nice guy.
Yeah.
It was right after he got that red card too, by the way.
Yeah.
Which one?
The Cincinnati one, was that what it is?
He's right before the playoffs.
Oh.
He good, like 2
yeah.
games before the playoffs or something like that.
Well, I'm glad that he's doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Anything
think
you
he
wanna
would
add?
be great at podcasting if he ever did it too.
Well, he did that show in St. Louis. He did like the St. Louis version of Cribs.
Reynolds, right?
But he
Was it?
also did.
yeah, I don't know.
He
It's called
also
Reynolds,
did.
It was
Yeah.
awesome.
He was also on here, by the way. In case you're
was.
still watching or listening, you can go to YouTube, where we have all of our previous casts over the last year, and you can go back. I think he was on a 3rd show.
Something like that. Yeah, one of the early
He's
ones.
on there, but we have Brad Estes and Lance McGarvey and Nice and Mr. Lynn, who was on there. We're going to try and get him on very soon as well.
Tim Malloy.
Tim Malloy was on our first show, and all of our capos.
He was a
and-
really good guest too.
We had Nice and Dr. Lynn on the same show.
Nice
Yeah.
and Lynn on the same show.
I always joke that there was like way too much income in my apartment that day. Yeah.
You were just hoping some of that would fall out of their pockets. They didn't even notice.
Like sitting here doing this show, and I look over and I'm like, oh, these guys combined, like they could,
And then
they
that was-
could buy this whole complex.
That was the
Like-
day that we
They
announced.
might even own it.
like
We haven't talked about it yet. That was the day that we announced the mini marathon. That was the exact.
Yes.
And he threw some money to the folks that were here to represent it. April 25th. That is, we're moving along. We're well over $1,000 now as far as money raised. There's still about 30 people that are part of the team. Whether you want to be a part of it, or if you just want to donate money, please, we could take that and do good things with it for a great facility. We did our show there a couple of weeks ago on a Saturday.
that was fun.
It was a
dude.
lot of fun. All the the clients there did some drawings. I have them. We're going to bring them to the game, and hopefully people can use them as signs and stuff like that. But really, please, if you can help us with that, we still more than 7 weeks left. So if you have any athletic, we're walking. Some of us are just walking the whole damn thing. But anyway, anything you want to add, man? I don't.
No, not really. I mean,
Thanks for
thank
being a
you.
part of it.
Yeah, thanks for
Hope you had a
having
good
me here.
time.
I did.
You know? And my last thing is we're living in crazy times, but you don't have to be crazy in them. You know what I'm saying? Just live your life, have fun, do your thing. Don't worry about people who don't worry about you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, folks. Thank you.
Later.